In front of my eyes, it seems to be covered by a layer of black fog. Yunwoo wanted to wave away the black fog that hindered her sight, but at this time, she just raised her hand, and her whole body suddenly became stiff in the same place. Immediately, a sharp pain occurred in the wrist meridians. Without waiting for Yunwoo, her heart was filled with horror, and the black fog all around, just like the living body, suddenly followed her wrist meridians and frantically poured in. Pain! It was like a sharp knife, rushing to scrape her veins and squeeze in. At first, it's just arms, and then it spreads all over the body. Yunwoo thought, is this another torture? But when all the black fog around poured into her body, the pain disappeared instantly. The cut on her wrist healed automatically, leaving a strange black mark. However, at this time of Cloud Dance naturally did not mind to pay attention to those details. Because, when she saw the scene clearly, she was shocked by the scene. Fundus, is that incredible surprise. Black pride. The sound is not big, but, actually in this dark black space, the echo rings out. I saw that this is a dark black space, surrounded by a breath of death, some gloomy and dark. And a huge figure, lightly shrouded in black fog, is being nailed in a corner of this space by 7 huge nails, wrapped in chains in this space. It's like a dead thing, there's no movement. However, Cloud Dance from the black fog shrouded in the body, feel down the familiar breath. When the call of Cloud Dance rings, the huge figure in the corner seemed to move suddenly. Just, every time it moves, the nail on it seems to shrink into a smell of blood, light in this space. I didn't expect you to enter the second door so soon. In the corner, a rather cold but hoarse voice came. Isn't that the voice of Hyo? Black pride? How can you do that? Yunwoo frowned at the black pride in the corner. Since the Chaos Hall was reopened, she had never felt the black pride. Unexpectedly, he was in the dead door space of the second floor. For her question, Hyo didn't seem to answer. The movement stopped, and in silence seeing this, Yunwoo can't help coming forward. But just close to the corner, haven't come to Hyo. Bang! An invisible barrier suddenly bounced her away. Yunwoo stepped back several steps to stabilize the rebound force. This made her face slightly changed. She was surprised and asked, "What's the matter?" "Hyo, what happened?" "Before, Mingming was okay. What's going on? Is it really like what Bearded said that she let him go out many times without authorization, which led to the punishment of Chaos Palace? I can't do without it for a while. I'll be fine after a while." Black proud voice, at this time still so cold and arrogant came. However, this should also be the real Yunwoo heart guess. It seems that it's really because of her. If she didn't let him come out of Chaos Hall many times to refine pills for her, there would be no such scene. Damn it. I don't know if Hyo feels what Yunwoo thinks. Under the black fog, the strange scarlet eyes finally raised and looked at the Cloud Dance. "I'm afraid there's no way to protect you during this period of time. You can do it yourself." Cloud Dance looked at the corner of the black proud, some inexplicable depression at the bottom of my heart. It's not because of the loss of his life-saving card, nor does it feel that his situation makes her feel at a loss. Instead, she didn't like the feeling. I don't like every time I watch the people and things around me. I fall into such a situation for her. But she, actually does not have any way also to feel. I don't like the feeling of being bound. Isn't she the owner of this chaotic temple? But why does she have no control at all? This makes Yunwoo feel angry. However, I promise to keep you safe for 3 years. You have entered the second gate. During this period, I will teach you how to control the fire of death and alchemy. Dead fire? What is that? However, the following sentence, alchemy, Cloud Dance can understand. When the consciousness of Cloud Dance returns to his body from the Chaos Hall, the first feeling of Cloud Dance is that the body still has some pain and inexplicable swelling. However, a probe, it is to let her a burst of surprise Zhengleng. The essence of a black mist, which is as exquisite as a thin thread, gradually flows into the dantian. and the red silk flowing in the veins of the whole body. At this time, it was covered by a layer of black fog, as if it was a combination of yang and yin. However, it is also in the strangeness that I can feel the strong and cold sense of power. The exhausted physical strength is abundant. Not only that. Her present strength, unexpectedly top 9. Yes, it has reached the peak of the 9th level. This has just entered the middle of the 8th level, even one day is not enough time, unexpectedly broke through to the peak of the 9th level. It's not surprising. You know, the more difficult it is to practice in this alien world at each previous stage. But she only has a few days, from the 7th peak to the 9th peak. It's really like riding a roller coaster. It's cloudy. But it's definitely a good thing that we've become stronger. Especially in her present situation, only by constantly strengthening her strength can she survive. When Yunwoo opened his eyes, in fact, the outside world didn't last long. The sky is still dark. How do you feel? A deep voice came. Hearing this, Yunwoo turned his head and saw Dragon Qingxie sitting beside him. From his deep black eyes, it was not difficult to see the worry. At that moment, in my mind, flashed the dangerous scene of the man for her tonight. The bottom of my heart cannot help a soft cloud dance. This man. Can she really resist? He nodded his head gently. It's all right. Seeing that her face was much better, Long Qingxie was relieved at this time. However, she still reached out and was ready to explore her pulse. By the way, she tried to see if she really began to repel him. But as soon as he stretched out his hand, he was caught by Yunwoo. Yunwoo thought that he was still worried about her body and wanted to find her pulse, but she was all right now. On the contrary, the man seems to have forgotten his back injury. A few days ago, the damaged soul and origin almost killed him. Now does he forget that even though his body has healing ability, it is not immortal. However, it is at this time. A strange wave in the air came from the darkness with great speed. Not for a moment. A young man in a dark gray robe has come from the sky. I thought you could escape somewhere, but it was back to the gate of beasts. At this time, the youth is full of gloomy and bloodthirsty. From his tone, he seemed to know that they went out from the gate of beasts. Who the hell is he? At this moment, Long Qingxie's face was cold and ready to get up. But at this time, Cloud danced but backhand pressed him. Stop him to get up, since came to other people's territory, there is no need to let us do it ourselves. As soon as the words were finished, he glanced up into the dark air. His voice was not high or low, but it spread like a megaphone in the dark. Sublime, don't hide. Don't forget the favor you owe me. Now I'll ask for it. Sublime. See, Cloud danced that words just a fall, that stands in mid-air of youth, pupils suddenly async. This kid, how do you know that old guy? No wonder, after escaping from his maze, he didn't run out of the forest, instead, he came to the depths of the forest to beg for help. However, there was a sneer in his eyes. Unfortunately, I'm afraid they will be disappointed. Because the old guy Gao Gao, even though he is strong enough, is still his man. The youth is fond of cold a smile, but didn't talk nonsense with them. Tonight, must first solve that kid. Hand a turn, a white flame, suddenly jumped from his palm. And just at the moment when the white flame appeared, the temperature in the air dropped rapidly in an instant, and the chilling feeling swung open under the night sky. How cold! It can pierce into human bones, and is extremely cold. What kind of flame is that? Cloud Dance saw the white flame, eyebrows and eye-ground brush a little surprised with cold. Because, at the moment when the flame flashed, it made her feel a little depressed, as if the blood flow began to slow down. This strange feeling is the first time since I came to this strange world. Instinctively, dangerous. What fire is that? It's Lingu fire. It's extremely cold fire. It's about conquering the blood of the witches. Don't try to be brave this time. Wait a minute. If you get the chance, you'll go first. The dragon's voice was abnormally low. Then, Dragon Qingxia stood up from the ground, and at the moment of standing up, his breath changed instantly. This lets the mid-air youth see, can't help eyebrow a pick, slightly narrowed that pair of sharp eyes. He looked at the dragon more. What do you want to do? Cloud dance but hand a stretch, a grasp his hand. Dragon Qing evil head also didn't return, the voice coldly sink of say, this person, is also a person of 10,000 beast door. Sublime is a man of the beast gate, and this young man is not only a man of the beast gate, but also in this person's capacity, I'm afraid nobility can't do anything to him. He never put his hopes in other people's hands. In particular, his woman's life what? Cloud dance smell speech, eyes suddenly am face sink down. Is this young man also a member of the beast sect? Then she asked them to come back to the gate of beasts, didn't she? Damn it! How could she let herself make such a low-level mistake? Cloud dance fists cannot help but clench. But the next second, Cloud dance also stood up from the ground, patted the dust on clothes, cold eyes raised, looked at the youth in midair. In that case, we have to do it ourselves. At the moment when the words fell, the cloud dancing hand turned, and the roaring Guwu's sword was immediately held in his hand. It's a man's business, little thing. Long Qingxia looked at the woman who held the sword and let out her domineering spirit, but said something. Can Cloud dance but the corners of the mouth slightly yawn, turn a head to glance at him one eye, you don't say, only with you side by side of the woman, can be worthy of you? What? Dragon Qing evil smell speech, tiny but a leng. She means suddenly, a touch of ecstasy infected his black eyes. The hot feeling poured into his chest, as if in this moment, blood boiling up. At this moment, he wanted to squeeze her into his arms, and wanted to unfortunately, the timing is not right. Good. The Long Qingxia sentence is very good and loud. Let one side, long ago when that young man appeared, he was on guard. He felt depressed. How can we express our feelings in the face of the enemy? Nangong Yi turns his head and looks at the cloud dance. In the eyes under the white yarn, there is a touch of sadness. However, no one is destined to know the boy in mid-air. Looking at the scene below, hearing their conversation, his eyes became more and more gloomy. Women? That kid is a woman. I thought it was just a man, but I didn't expect it was a woman. If it's a witch woman who wakes up twice in a row, it's probably damn it. Never stay. I saw that the white flame in the young man's hand seemed to rise with the fluctuation of his mood. In the air. All of a sudden, the piercing chill soared. At that moment, all around the vegetation, actually in the instantaneous ice speed is very fast, quickly toward the surrounding diffuse and open. A few breaths, in the dark, can clearly see a vast expanse of white ice. Is it freezing? Looking at this strange scene, Yunwu's faces were not very good looking. Especially Cloud Dance. Because, she felt that the dark fire in her hands Guwu's sword was suppressed by something, without any fluctuation. Even her blood seemed to start to clot slowly. If it goes on like this, not to mention fighting, I'm afraid her whole body's blood is about to form ice. Little things, warm up with fire elements. The voice of dragon's evil comes down. The cloud dances and hears the words, and the fire element in the body is immediately transferred. Under the element of fire, the freezing state of blood really eased a lot. Only, this lets that mid-air young pupil shrink once more, that cold mouse sun seems to have appeared in inexplicable light. Fire element? Are you a double system? She is not only a witch woman, but also the next witch saint. She is a double system summoner. What does that mean? I'm afraid no one knows better than this young man. The young man standing in mid-air, to let people jump down in the air, standing in front of Yunwu not far away. Originally the eyes of the gloomy killing intention, but now they fall on Yunwu. It's like looking at it, or looking at it anyway, the sight is really creepy. Let Cloud Dance is disgusted, frown. And Dragon Qing evil eye ground, also skim a very cold kill idea, with an inexplicable deep anger quietly rise in the eye ground. But at this time, the young man staring at the cloud began to laugh inexplicably. Haha, it's fun. It's fun. Only in a laugh, the young man's mouth suddenly raised a strange smile arc looking at the sharp eyes of Cloud dancing. There is a strong and strange color. It's so funny. It's a pity to kill you. I'm going to make a decision. The voice is not light, but the thin body, but a flash, with a strange speed toward the clouds. Long Qingxie's face sank, his foot moved, and his épée fell. Shangguan and Nangong Yi react quickly, and they also greet each other. But at that moment, the space suddenly twisted. This scene, let everyone did not react, including Cloud dance at that moment. The figures of the dragon, Shangguan, Nangongji, and the other three were absorbed in the distorted space. In the blink of an eye, it's gone. Disappeared? Yes, disappeared without a trace, even the breath also disappeared. In that second, Yunwu was also tightly imprisoned by a cold force. Since she is a woman, why put these on her face? At the moment when the boy's voice rang out, a white light swept by, and a wisp of white dust quickly fell from Yunwu's face. It didn't take 3 seconds. The camouflage on Yunwu's face has disappeared, revealing the beautiful face which is attractive enough to breathe, and the purple pupil. Beautiful. Almost as long as the beauty is personal, regardless of men and women, just a glance, cannot help but be attracted to the kind of line of sight. Young people's sight, when they see the real face of Cloud dance, is also a temporary sign lang. It never seems to have occurred to me. It turned out that her face in disguise was so beautiful. However, Yunwu's face at this time has changed into extremely angry coldness and bloodthirsty. Click. Imprisoned in the Cloud dance body around the strength, suddenly came a crack-broken sound. Bang! With a dull sound, the force of imprisonment is directly broken. Yunwu Zidong was very angry. In the black mark on his wrist, a black whip came out, full of the terrible force of death. He attacked the boy fiercely at the moment when Yunwu broke away from his power. The young man was surprised, but did not expect that the speed of the youth, but not the slightest bit of delay. A strange shake, to avoid the Cloud attack at the same time, but with the speed of people cannot avoid, backhand attack to the Cloud. Yunwu's face changed slightly. He quickly moved away and dodged his hand. In the hands of a failure, the young man's sharp eyes slightly narrowed, more interesting fundus. At the foot of a move, and straight toward the Cloud dance quickly grasp and go. At this time, Yunwu felt that the teenager didn't really use all his strength, but played with her, just wanted to catch her. Damn it. The elements of Cloud dance and wind are integrated, the speed is accelerated, and the speed is quickly avoided. However, at the moment of dodging, the black whip in his hand turned into a sharp black sword, turned sideways and attacked the young man neatly. Wind element? She has the element of wind? She's a triad? Feeling the change of her elements, the young pupil shrinks again, and the dark flow at the bottom of her eyes flashes by. The breath of death and terror came, and the black sword was coming towards the boy. But the boy suddenly laughed, and a strange smile crossed his sharp eyes. He didn't avoid it. In an instant, the beast turned into 5 claws and went straight to the Cloud dance. The sword failed. Straight through his body. How could he get through her sword? How is that possible? Looking at the boy's thin body, it was so strange that she stabbed his sword through her. The Cloud danced with surprise, and there was a touch of surprise in his purple eyes. Body shape but rapid flash. But the boy's 5 claws, like lightning, directly grasped Yunwu's shoulder. Kaka. As soon as the claws closed, the sharp fingers sank deep into her bones. At that moment, a very cold, straight from the shoulder into the body of Cloud dance. A burst of numbness pain, instant attack, through the veins directly attacked the whole body. Yunwu was shocked and tried to mobilize the power of elements in her body. But she found that her blood was frozen and her power was suppressed. It's as if the body is frozen, the attack action is at a standstill, and the whole body can't move. The young man's eyes flashed black, and the corners of his mouth sketched. Arm of force, Cloud dance body with puppet general, directly he tightly into the thin but strong and powerful arms. Then, a slightly cold breath, with a slightly hoarse voice, came up to the ear-lobe of Cloud dancing. As long as you obediently follow me, I will not only not kill you, but also make you safe from now on, never let anyone hurt you a hair, what? Dream. Yunwoo's eyes are cold and angry, and his arms are struggling. At this time, the boy did not buckle her shoulder again, but he moved his arm down and hugged her thin waist. Yunwoo almost wanted to kill him. However, as long as his hand touched her body that moment, that chill has been infiltrating her body. It's Lingu fire. He was using the cold poison fire to restrain her internal strength, and frozen her internal blood. Damn it. It seems to know what Yunwoo thought at this time. The strange smile on the young man's face not only didn't decrease, but deepened a bit. As a warning of danger, she gently brushed her ear, any witch people who meet me will only be defeated, even if you are no exception, so don't try to escape, or you will understand my real means. As soon as the meaningful words fell, the withered and thin figure of the youth jumped up in the air holding the Cloud dance. However, before leaving with Cloud dance. Phew! A harsh strange sound broke the air. Not for a while. In the dark sky, a dozen black-robed people with masks came quickly. Young master. About a dozen people in black called respectfully when they saw the boy. Young hand toward the bottom of a brush, see, below the space suddenly a twist. In the twinkling of an eye, Dragon Qing Xia, Nanganji, Shengguan, and three figures suddenly appear. The boy glanced at the three people below, and the cold voice said, "Kill all the three people for me, and leave none." 10 or so black-robed people listen, gloomy vision immediately locked in the following three people. Yes, at that moment, more than a dozen black-robed people suddenly fell in the air. Seeing this, the young man, with a sneer at the bottom of his eyes, left in a flash with a Cloud dance open space below. Long Qingxia, Shengguan and Nanganji just struggled out of the distorted space. They didn't have any buffer time when they saw more than a dozen black-robed people coming from the air. These black-robed people are definitely of a different level than they met before in the Gate of Beasts. The moment the black-robed man came down, his whole body became a beast. The momentum of the attack is like a fierce beast. The attack is sharp and fierce. The attack is vicious and merciless. Every move with a fatal attack, seems to want to be in the fastest time, will be in front of the three people to destroy. For a moment, Shengguan and Nangong Yi were struggling to deal with it. At the moment when Long Qingxia saw Yunwoo being taken away, his face changed, as if a great anger crossed his eyes, and the golden pupil flashed by. In line with the body shape of agile attack, he jumped up in the air, and immediately wanted to chase the boy in the direction of disappearance. But the body just jumped up, in the void, it was swept by a fierce wisteria tongue. Dragon Qing evil quickly body shape ateng, dodge. At this time, just see clearly, that throw out wisteria tongue-like thing, exactly is what thing. It turned out to be a dog full of pimples, disgustingly ugly lazy toad. Yes. A lazy toad with one person tall. However, the only difference is that it has a red one-horned forehead and a pair of black wings like bats, which is very strange. But what's in the Gate of Beasts is normal. At this time, on the top of the toad's head, there was a man in black with a mask. The black-robed man looked at the dragon and said, "Which one of you is the summoner with thunder element?" "Ray element summoner." Long Qingxia's eyes were very cold. He glanced at the man in black. "Get out of the way." The voice was very cold. When the black-robed man heard the speech, he seemed to hear some big joke, and he burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha! Move out of my way. Good thing, arrogant tone. Today, no matter who you are, you will give me your life." As soon as he said that, he saw the toad's thick purple tongue, which was extremely swift and violent, hurling it at the dragon. Fierce and swift, and the black-robed man also jumped in the air, his hands turned into animal claws, and he also jumped into the air and slashed down at the dragon. Double attack, meaning to kill the dragon at one stroke. The light of the claw is flashing, and it's coming fiercely. In a flash to avoid the purple tongue attack of Dragon Qing Evil, black eyes suddenly a transformation of gold. In an instant, the whole gas field seems to change in an instant, extremely cold. At that moment, the figure who had just dodged suddenly faced the man who had jumped out of the black robe, Schwa. A void like ice and cold light passed by. In the eyes of the black-robed man, the horror just flashed through his eyes. He didn't even scream, but his body was split in two at that moment. The figure of Dragon Qing Xia is like a spring, flying in the air. Bang! Gah! A dazzling light clip accompanied by the explosion sounded, and the sound of the toad quack was also raised at that time. Wait for the explosion blood fog to subside. Below that besieges the South Palace the upper officials fight sound, all in that moment to stop to slow down. I saw that more than a dozen black-robed people were stunned, full of disbelief and panic. A move? They're leading the way, aren't they? How can you be but in front of the situation, has become a fact, let that look at the eyes of the black-robed people, are suffused with a touch of shock. However, Long Qingxie, who caused such a scene, had already chased the boy in the direction of disappearing, and disappeared in the twinkling of an eye. Hey, we're here. Why did you run first? While the black-robed man stopped attacking, the Shengguan also looked at the direction of Dragon Qingxie. At that moment, Long Qingxie left in this way. He could not help shouting. These black-robed people are all from the inner gate of the Beast Gate. Unfortunately, he yelled a little late, and the dragon's evil figure disappeared long ago. Shengguan was depressed. How to say, he has helped a lot. How can he leave first? Forget it. I won't play any more. Nangong Yi, you can do it yourself. I'll withdraw first. See you later. I saw the Shengguan depressed finish. Beast of the hands, mercilessly toward the virtual era split, space instantly appeared a strange slit. Shengguan took advantage of the moment when the black-robed man was stunned, his body jumped in and disappeared directly in the slit. It turned out that he also had his means to protect his life. Space elements? No, the breath is not right. On the contrary, some of them are like the family members of the Beast Gate. The people in black robes, seeing the scene, could not help but look down. Because, only those who belong to the family of 10,000 beasts can be qualified to inherit the blood of the rarest and most advanced space warcraft. Which branch of the sect is this man? How did you get out? This matter must be reported to the Lord as soon as possible. However, at this time, the black-robed people were not in a daze. Because there is a Nangonji. All of a sudden, more than a dozen black-robed people turned their eyes to Nangong Yi, who was dressed in white and white dosha. Compared with just violent, there was a little more vigilance in his eyes at this time. In the beginning, they may have underestimated the enemy. Begin to approach step by step and then. Nangong Yi's expression of Baidosha is still calm. He sweeps around his eyes and turns his hands. There are two more round iron balls in the palm. What's that? The black-robed man didn't feel any fluctuation of the power of that thing. He also had a pure human breath, which was not so strange as the previous two. In the eyes of vigilance, he suddenly rises again, murderous. Why are you still in a daze? Let's go together and kill him. In one of the black-robed people's gloomy cheers, a dozen black-robed people suddenly swept fiercely. It seems that there is a feeling that I want to turn my consternation into anger. Nangong Yi's sagacious eyes seem to pass a touch of coldness. The two little iron balls have been thrown out. And at the moment when the little iron ball got rid of it, the figure in white was agile and jumped up in the air. At that moment. Boom! The huge sound of explosion, like bright fireworks, exploded in the dozens of black-robed people. Even in the dark, it seems that you can feel the smoke rolling in the fire. Nangong Yi, dressed in white and not stained with dust, turns around, and his figure quickly moves towards the direction where he left with Yunwu. After the explosion, smoke gradually sinks. there was a huge hole in the ground. However, several black-robed people were not killed, but were seriously injured. Seeing Nanganji, who left in the sky, in his angry eyes, he was shocked. How powerful is that little iron ball? At the beginning of the battle, I didn't feel that these individuals were too powerful. It was more than enough to count one enemy. Can never think of, did not suffer losses in the hands of the other two people, but in this person more than half of the casualties. Damn. Now. Two shadows hidden above the thick layer of the sky, looking at the battle below. Lofty mouth slightly raised, turned his head, looking at the side of the hot eyes incomparable, pan with a trace of greed of the middle-aged man. I've found you the person you're looking for. This time, we're clean. The middle-aged man smelled the speech, turned his head and looked at the lofty, that year's life, so pay off. This business doesn't seem to be worth it. Otherwise, what do you think? Sublime that gentle face, suddenly some sink. When the middle-aged man saw this, there was a fierce and cruel light in his eagle eyes. However, in the twinkling of an eye, it was hidden again. Good. It will be regarded as a clean-up. However, I just got something recently. I heard that you have been dreaming of it for hundreds of years. This time, I want to make a deal with you. The middle-aged man suddenly raised a smile and took out a piece of golden scale in his hand. Lofty in a look at the scales, the pupil suddenly shrunk. Hundreds of years without fluctuations in mood, seems to shake up in an instant. How could you have that? All said, just got it. Don't worry. As long as you help me catch the person I want, I'll give you what you want with both hands. Middle-aged man said at the same time, body up a haze of inexplicable breath. Sublime that pair of two-color pupil eyes, suddenly brush anger. However, in the end, he returned to his former calm, and his voice was rather cold. 3 days later, I'll take someone to find you. Remember to get things ready for me. Haha, as long as you bring the man back to me, you can offer me what you want. The man said with a smile. Hoo. Being held in his arms by the young man, Cloud Dance can't move. At this time, he is standing on the back of a warcraft. I just feel that what I see in front of my eyes is a scene of being put fast, and I brush the wind in my ear. The wind that brushed head-on almost blinded people. You can imagine how fast this warcraft flies. However, in the forest under the dark night, warcraft can fly at high speed without hindrance, so we are very familiar with the geographical flight here. It's been a while. Cloud Dance not only has no outward feeling, on the contrary, it feels that the surrounding forest is more and more dense. Did he take her deep in the forest? The young man embraces Yunwoo's delicate body. On his pale and handsome face, he raises his smile lightly. It's not difficult to see his good mood. Damn it. Yunwoo felt that she was constantly infiltrated by his fire. No matter what she wanted to do, she couldn't move at all. Just when Yunwoo was gnashing her teeth and always wanted to break through this kind of confinement. In my mind, suddenly came the sound of black pride. Link your consciousness with Chaos Temple, and lead the fire of death into your body from the dead gate of the second gate. What? Smell speech, Cloud Dance Aleng, obviously don't understand. However, Yunwoo did not hesitate. According to Hyo's words, as soon as his mind was collected, his consciousness instantly merged into the Chaos Hall and connected with it. But, this second door, dead fire? What is it? However, there is a saying quite right, when the boat reaches the bridge, it will be straight. There is no need for Yunwoo to figure out how to start. Her consciousness links to Chaos Hall, and consciousness has entered the second door. All of a sudden, a dead air without any vitality suddenly emerged. Almost along the line connecting her with Chaos Palace, it directly poured into her body. It was like a black liquid, like a clear spring, and like the feeling of mercury, neither hot nor cold, but lifeless. Yunwoo felt that when the black liquid kept every muscle of her body, the frozen blood suddenly recovered. The frozen feeling of Lingu fire seems to be receding. At this time, Yunwoo seems to have a feeling that the lifeless black liquid is beginning to change liquid, in the constant engulf that cold goo fire under the freezing. At first, it turned into a wisp of flame, and at last, it formed a dark flame of dead air. Everywhere in her veins. If at this time, who can look inside? Absolutely will be shocked to find, at this time in the veins of Yunwoo's body, it's like being wrapped by a black fire. The breath of death was strong, but it did not affect her vitality at all. Click. All of a sudden, a bone was broken. The boy's face changed in a flash. I saw that his wrist was broken by a strong force, and the pain of his wrist was coming. Yunwoo, who was held by him in his arms, at that moment, one of them flashed forward and pulled his arm back. The speed was so fast that it hardly gave the boy the chance to react. In an instant, the whole arm of the boy was twisted behind his back. Warcraft flight speed did not stop, the wind brush face, with a force in the wind. How can I resist my cold spell? He turned his head and looked at the cloud dance, which was pulling his arm fiercely. There was a flash in the young man's sharp eyes. How to resist? Smell speech, cloud dance, the corner of the mouth slightly raises, but smile can't reach an eye. How impossible. You haven't really seen my method. Don't you like to play? So, I played with you for a while, okay? Is it fun? In fact, if it wasn't for Hyo's use of Heihua, maybe Yunwoo was still under his control. Just, think of him all the way to hold her free, Cloud Dance would like to kill him. Therefore, in the tone of opening, I can't help laughing with anger. However, after hearing the words, the young man was very happy. Slightly leng a second later, but inexplicably laughed up, play with me? Haha. Was I cold goo fire control all the way, did not resist is to accompany me to play? Little woman, do you think I'll believe it? But I like your hard tone. I saw his words fall. Cloud Dance only feel that the hand that tugs his arm hard, suddenly a cold idea hits, turn a slip. The young man's hand, which she had caught behind her, had taken off her grip like a loach. One shook his body, and the boy stood up straight. At this time, he is smiling and looking at the Cloud Dance with deep eyes. Since you like to play, I will play with you. Kaka. The clattering sound of bone twisting sounded in front of the Cloud Dancing. I saw that the wrist, which had just been broken and deformed by Yunwoo, was bending down with his own hands, and the clattering sound was recovering bit by bit. You can even see clearly the twisted shape of his bones. To be honest, seeing this, Yunwoo was a little surprised. This young man, who is he? However, at this time, Cloud Dance is cold. Yes? Then I really want to see how you want to play. At the moment when the words fell, the Cloud danced forward. In the strong wind, the Cloud Dance didn't use too many tricks to stir up the dead fire in the body, and the black light enveloped the fist. Just a direct punch, in front of him, hit hard. In the face of this kind of fist without any strength, the youth should not do the same thing. The corner of the mouth smile meaning of raise, just very casually like stretched out a palm, relaxed to take her that attack fist. Not surprisingly, the fist was easily caught. The strength is okay, and the strength is enough. Unfortunately, for teenagers, it's not painful. There was a smile in his eyes. He looked at Yunwoo and said with a smile, "Little woman, you can't fight me. I think you should follow me. I will treat you air." Click. Before the words were finished, a dull hum accompanied by a bone click sounded. The boy's face changed in an instant. See, that originally feel not painful not itch of palm, suddenly attack like a dead cheese strange power. Instant, along the bones and muscles came a dark force, straight hit on his shoulder. Sharp pain, instant hit on his nerves. How is this possible? The young man's funny eyes crossed a little. I can't believe it. But at this time, on his shoulder, the sound of bone fragmentation and the pain were all reminding him. He was hurt by the little woman in front of him. With his current strength, how can it be? Now. As soon as Cloud Dance's eyes were cold, under his unbelievable eyes, another fist had been raised, and he hit him on the abdomen quickly. The boy's face sank. Another hand quickly, suddenly toward Cloud Dance a beat. Yunwoo's fist was aimed at his abdomen. However, just under the palm of his hand, her body, like a broken kite, was directly shot off the back of Warcraft. Along the direction of the strong wind, it flew. It's just that she seems a little too far away from being photographed. The boy's face was very ugly at this time. Because, by the cloud boxing fall of the abdomen, unexpectedly abnormal pain. When dancing in the clouds, even if you break through the samurai, you can't hurt him half a point. But her fists hurt him twice, and made him feel severe pain, as if he was engulfed by something at this moment. If the youth has not found anything different, it is stupid. But in the gap, when the young man's eyes were just flying, his face suddenly sank. I saw the cloud dance which was padded by him. As soon as it flies out, it stabilizes the body. Then, when the young man looked at her, the corner of his mouth outlined and raised a mocking smile towards him. In a turn, he quickly left in the dark. Escaped? Phew. There's some kind of harsh sound. The fast-flying Warcraft stopped immediately. At that moment, the young man's thin figure had jumped down quickly and flashed towards the direction of the cloud dance. However, when he reached 100 meters away, he had already disappeared. And the position of his abdominal arm, abnormal pain came. Looking down, I found that there was a light black fog around the wound that had just been attacked by the cloud. Now it's in the dark. If you don't observe carefully, you can't find it. The breath of death. The feeling is that the black fog with the smell of death is eroding the cold fire in his body, and the bottom of his eyes is a touch of surprise. Can immediately, eyes suddenly strange squint. It seemed that the little woman had more than he could see. In the hands of White Flame Tang, immediately, toward his body that wound brush. That layer of light black fog was wiped away instantly. She's really a cunning little woman. No wonder she talks so loudly. She's trying to trap me. But do you really think that you can escape from me? Although the black fog was worn out, there was still pain on the body. How many years have there been no people who could hurt him? The little woman, the young man's sharp eyes were slightly darkened. But deep in the eye, there is a flicker of potential in the inevitable light. The bloodless corner of the mouth coldly outlines a strong smile. The flight of Yunwoo not only didn't irritate him, but also aroused the heat in his heart. At night, the forest was thick and complicated. The more you go forward, you will find that this area is surrounded by shrubs and thorns. It's hard to walk. Especially at night. In fact, Yunwoo can fly away. However, the boy is so weird that if he flies, he will be chased before he reaches 100 meters. However, Cloud Dance did not seem to think of it. Even if it is walking, it may not be able to avoid the young man's tracking. Yunwoo directly uses Guwu Broadsword to split the bush and thorn, and quickly moves through the bush. However, no matter how fast she walked, she was soon caught up. The sound of the wind coming from the flying of Warcraft came from behind. After a while, I saw the boy who came from Warcraft. He was pale and handsome, with a strange smile on his face, and his eyes were full of the hot eyes of hunters, staring at the clouds in the bush. Don't be in a hurry. It's like seeing the prey in one's own bag, running away in a panic under one's own chase, with strong interest and desire for conquest. The speed of Warcraft's flight slows down, and gradually approaches the cloud dance. Little woman, don't run. There is Hurricane Cliff ahead. You can't escape from me. High in the sky, the young man smiles wildly. But, soon, his original fanatical expression suddenly froze, and a sharp light crossed his eyes. The thin figure quickly jumped down from the Warcraft and walked to the cloud dancing position. Voice quite dignified, mouth, don't break that bush, that is behind the hurricane cliff, once close to the cliff, where the hurricane will be enough to crush your bones. Well behaved, don't temper, that place is very dangerous, come here, come to me. As he spoke, the boy came dancing towards the clouds. Hurricane cliff? No wonder, the more you go to this bush and thorn forest, the faster the wind speed is. Yunwoo thought that she was going out of the bush, but she thought that the front of the road was the cliff. It's just, looking at the boy coming fast. Cloud dance but heart a horizontal, goo-woo big knife, across the sky toward the front of that bush split down. Hoo-hoo. The wind howls, almost like a broken bamboo, blowing from the empty gap. The strong wind blowing from the cliff is like a hurricane, which is extremely harsh. On the other side of the bush is a dark cliff. The cliff is surrounded by high dense shrubs, which makes the cliff like a strange black hole. Hoo-hoo. The whistling wind, like the shriek of Warcraft, is very penetrating. No wonder, this young man flies Warcraft in this area, flying in the forest, not into the air. To tell you the truth, seeing the cliff, the cloud dance made my heart tremble. What a strong wind. Just standing outside, you can feel the piercing pain of the hurricane. If you enter that air outlet, I'm afraid you can really crush the whole person. However, the voice of Black Pride suddenly rang out from my mind at this time. Jump. Jump down. Cloud dance aleng, but the next second, but no hesitation. Step out of the shrub forest and flash towards the cliff. However, as soon as we get close to the cliff, the strong wind blows, and our feet become extremely slow. Keep away from me. Behind him came the boy's cry. On the edge of the cliff, Yunwoo turns around and looks at the young man who rushes over quickly, with a smile on his lips. If you still want to catch me, jump down with me. See her that words fall, jump to the cliff that the strong wind blows. Little girl. The boy's face sank and his heart trembled. However, just want to have action. I felt a strong breath coming from behind, and I was very angry. The young man reacted quickly, but at that moment, his body was hit by the passing figure. What a quick figure. The attack didn't hurt the teenager half a point. However, the next second, but enough to make one of the young Leng. Because, he saw the fast-passing figure, even without pause, he just jumped towards the cliff. The smell of that man is young eyebrow a cu, Mao bottom tiny mi, a put on guess strange streamer crossed eye bottom. Under the cliff. At this time of cloud dance, a black whip wrapped around a raised stone, the body hanging in the mid-air cliff, behind, is being crushed by the hurricane. The strong wind. If it wasn't for the clouds sticking to the cliff and wrapped in wind elements, her body would almost be torn by the hurricane. No wonder the young man said that in this hurricane cliff, it is enough to crush a person's bones. Fortunately, Yunwoo was ready to jump off the cliff. Moreover, since Hyo wanted her to jump down, there was a reason. However, the unexpected cloud dance is. Just as she was thinking about how to avoid the hurricane and climb down the cliff. A figure, but quickly from the air. That speed is extremely fast, like rushing to reincarnation, head down toward the next empty. Dragon poor evil. When Yunwoo saw the figure, he was a little surprised. But the body reacts faster than the brain. Instinctively, he reaches out his hand and grabs the man's foot. However, the speed that Dragon Ching Xie rushed down was too fast. Under the powerful pulling force, the black whip wound around the stone and was directly dropped. They both fell when they were empty. In the darkness, there was darkness. Whispering wind, the wind swept up, almost to the two people involved in the wind. Cloud dance not from the facial expression a change, one hand grasps the dragon to pour evil, one hand excites the element package in the body, forcefully toward that cliff rock to grasp. I saw the 5 fingers wrapped by the wind element, like claws trapped in the cliff. I thought it could stabilize the two people's bodies. However. Kaka, kaka. But I can only hear the sound of the crack, such as the sharp tool across the hard stone, the sparks splashing around, the rock wall is like the bean curd being cut. 2 people fall of body, but did not stop slow down meaning. Damn it. But don't know, long Qing evil at the beginning for her, Mao full strength of jump down of chase and come. Where to know? Cloud dance at the beginning of the cliff, this is ready. Under this rush, he took both of them down the cliff. Little thing. Long Qingxie looked up. When he saw that Yunwu's hand was holding the cliff and the sparks were splashing around, he was shocked. Almost in an instant, the épée in his hand flashed out and stabbed at the cliff to control the falling speed. But the situation is similar to that of Cloud Dance. Don't stop them. On the contrary, they fell faster and faster, as if their bodies were a giant of gravity. The more you stop, the faster you fall. No. There's something wrong with this place. This idea has just passed through Yunwu's heart. Suddenly. Cloud Dance suddenly felt a stiff body. The body seems to be controlled by something in general, obviously a sink. Holding the hand of Long Qingxie, he also let go. Long Qingxie. The speed of body falling is like lightning. It's falling faster and faster in the twinkling of an eye, it's gone. Little dance. Long Qingxie's face changed greatly. Without any hesitation, he jumped to the direction of Yunwu's falling. At this point, it was dark all around. If you can see anything clearly, you will feel that it is a bottomless black hole swept by a hurricane. But, under the fall, Dragon Qingxie also suddenly felt that his weight sank. However, Long Qingxie didn't plan to slow down. On the contrary, they jump fast with the help of cliffs, like sharp arrows. Little dance, give me your hand. In the gale, Long Qingxie shouts. It's dark below. I don't know how far away the bottom of the cliff is. If it's the bottom of the cliff at this time, I can't believe what the consequences will be with the speed they are falling now. My body is frozen. Don't worry about me. Keep your speed first. Cloud Dance looked at the man that don't life like straight after, if not moved that is false. But now, somehow, she was completely stiff. And I feel heavier and heavier. If there's something wrong with him chasing down like this, I'm afraid his fate will be more serious than hers. On hearing this, Long Qingxie not only did not stop, but also tried his best to speed up Chaoyun dance. As fast as lightning, as fast as 1,000 miles. Yunwu's body falls fast, and the dragon's pursuit speed is faster. In a catch-up, Dragon Qing evil hand a stretch, a tightly grasped the cloud. In the moment of being held tightly by Longquan Town, Yunwu subconsciously reaches out and hugs Long Qingxie's waist. Hold tight. Dragon Qing evil big voice way, black eye in an instant turns into golden pupil. A very cold breath, in an instant from the body wind up, a strange black light, instantaneous will two people shrouded. But at that moment, Yunwu's face changed. Yunwu felt that under the black light, his body felt like being bitten by tens of thousands of ants, and the pain came. I feel terrible. What's going on? Long Qingxie noticed the expression of Cloud Dance in the corner of his eyes, and his heart seemed to have expected it. However, at this time, the speed is too fast for him to control. There is no other way. Bear it, it will soon be fine. At the same time, under the black light, the dragon's hands suddenly twisted, and suddenly thrust into the cliff. Kaka. Fingers such as steel inserted into the hard cliff, straight row and down, sparks shining in the night. However, the two people's bodies, which were originally falling rapidly, finally began to ease. However, when Yunwu saw the man's arm inserted into the cliff from the corner of his eye, his heart trembled, and finally he could not help yelling at him. Long Qingxie, let me go. Let go. If he could let go, he wouldn't jump. Hold well, this life, I can't let go, you are born, if you die, then you are ready to accompany me to hell. At this time, I don't know whether he is joking or telling the truth. However, he saw the corner of his mouth outlined, the golden pupil is that abnormal evil crazy cold. Going to hell with him. Hearing this, Yunwu didn't have any fear of death, just felt his body tremble. Because, it seems that any love words, there is no such sentence to shock her soul. Go to hell with him, right? As long as he dares to accept it, she dares to go to hell with him. Although the speed of the fall eased a little, it was still falling down. The black light in the body of Dragon Qing Xie rises again, and it is another force to insert into the arm of the cliff rock. In an instant, almost the whole arm had fallen into the cliff. All the way down, the broken rock was stained with red blood. But when the line of sight looked down, Long Qingxie's face suddenly sank. I saw, in the dark, a cold light flickering. Close look, it was full of sharp rocks, like the sharp blade, erected the whole cliff underground. Even now the speed is buffered, but if they fall like this, they will be injured. Only Dragon Qing Xie took out his hand from the rock in an instant, put one hand around her waist, and put Yunwu's head in his arms with the other hand. For the first time, the real power to open the dark inside. The night, as if at this moment, was instantly stained with ink, very dark and deep, and just then the black light twisted strangely, as if in an instant, like a pair of strange black wings, unfolded in an instant. Under the fall, the two wings suddenly merge, and the forward tightly protect the two people to fall. Bang! A dull heavy crash sounded in the dark. Yunwu is tightly protected in the arms of men. I just felt that after a violent vibration of my body, the heavy falling feeling in my body disappeared instantly. However, the lake at the bottom of my heart is no longer peaceful. Open eyes looking at the man under the body, what words also can't say, feel the heart tightly clenched. Don't look at me like this. I'm afraid I can't help kissing you. A weak voice like a smile seemed to ring out under her. With the slight vibration of his speech, the cloud dance close to his arms seemed to be clearly heard, and the sound of bone clucking in his body. There were sharp and uneven rocks all around, just like the sharp edge of a knife. At this time, they were falling on the ground. It is Dragon Qing Xie who cushions her and protects her well. At this time, I'm afraid his whole back has been pierced by the sharp stone, right? But can he still laugh? Yunwu didn't move, just looked at him quietly. His face, which was covered by his ordinary appearance, was also pale. What about his real face? Reach out, Cloud Dance, lift the false skin on his face. There is no blood color on the handsome face at this time. Even the thin lips that always like to outline the evil smile are pale at this time. Is it worth it? Cloud Dance, quietly looking at him, asked. She seems to have asked this question many times in her mind. Is this man really worth it for her? She had never done anything for him, or even dragged him down. But he fell off the cliff for her. Is it worth it? Dragon Qing evil smell speech, as if can't feel behind that also insert the pain of sharp stone, so tightly lie down, tightly hold her, looking at her. However, the corner of the mouth is slightly up, still evil. Value, this life, only you such a woman, let me feel to pay any price, all value. Cloud Dance, a tight heart. Always indifferent as if she, but at this time, her face is raised a smile, the real smile. In that case, I'll take you as a man. As soon as the words fell, I pasted my cool red lips on my own initiative when the soft red lips on the initiative, Long Qing evil for a time, Zhengleng for a second. In response, a very fanatical surprise flashed from his eyes, but more of it was the doting tenderness. Kiss. Gradually deepen. The smell of blood in the air seems to be more and more intense. The sharp stone from the back stabs into the body. Even if the body of Dragon Qing Xie has healing ability, it can't heal in this case. So, blood, it's oozing all the time. But at this time, the dragon doesn't want to interrupt. Such a dark night, such a roaring wind. This sharp cliff bottom, but staged such a hot picture when Yunwu deeply kisses a man, his consciousness is in line with the first gate of Chaos Hall and the first gate of life. In an instant, the pure vitality of heaven and earth aura in the Chaos Hall has been let out along her body. With the two lips fit, has the most direct way, the body from the Chaos Palace aura, quickly into his body. Cloud Dance is not stupid. She knew what had just happened on the cliff. Although, she did not know why his strength would make her body repel. I don't know what he has been hiding from her. But if she wanted this man, she would admit at the first gate in the Chaos Palace, the aura of heaven and earth in the birth gate, has the ability of lush grass and regeneration of dead trees no harm to him. When the pure aura poured in, the dragon's evil body was shocked. Like, in an instant. The aura of heaven and earth entered his body, and his body's healing ability instantly increased countless times, and the wound quickly began to heal. And the deformed bone, also in an instant issued a rattle. What is this pure spirit? Long Qingxie opened his eyes and looked at the woman. But just at this moment, a twisted wave in the air suddenly came. Long Qingxie felt for the first time that the golden eyes flashed. He hugged the woman in his arms and wanted to jump up from the ground. But as soon as he did, he was pressed down by a small hand. Red lips leave. Yunwu reached out and stroked the man under him. His thin lips were slightly restored to blood color, and the corners of his mouth were raised. Take a good breath, I don't want to see my man look sick. As soon as the words fell, the cloud danced from him. There is no enchanting posture, but in the moment when she got up, the man felt that his heart beat faster. There's a fever in my heart. This damn sultry little thing. However, at this time, the dragon was very obedient, lying on the ground like that, breathing in his body, which also nourishes his aura of heaven and earth. And the line of sight, however, did not move away from that woman from the beginning. After getting up, the cloud dances with its back to the dragon. Lift a Mao to hope to that half-sky twist wave, Mao bottom cold light flash. Come out. The voice is not high or low, and the mood is flat. At the bottom of the cliff where the hurricane roared, the sound was easily obscured by the wind. But as soon as the words of Cloud Dance came down, a wisp of light white shadow came out slowly from the distorted and fluctuating position in the mid-air. When seeing the white shadow, Yunwu frowned slightly. No body, no face, no breath of life, as if it was the shadow of a light white fog. What's that? Yunwu thought that it was the skinny boy who caught up with him. But this is seeing the white shadow. Long Qingxie also sat up from the ground, and a look of doubt passed through his black eyes. Obviously, I don't know about this sudden appearance. You how happy. At this time, a very pleasant and charming female voice came from the mid-air. And with that female voice, I don't know if it's an illusion, but I feel that the hoo-hoo wind over the cliff seems a little softer. Clearly did not feel any breath of life. How in my mind, the murmuring voice of Hyo came to me. I didn't expect that after hundreds of years, it really lingered here. Hundreds of years here. Did the Black Pride know the existence of the white shadow early in the morning, so that she jumped down? Who is that? The ghost of the false beast. What? The ghost of the false beast? Cloud Dancer, listen, suddenly Aleng. Is this false beast not the false beast in the myths and legends of the modern ancient Han dynasty? Legend. False beast, it is one of the mythical beasts in ancient Chinese mythology. It has a pretty face, a daughter-like body, a graceful posture, and can speak human words. But this in those days, the beast came to the mainland of China because of his family's orders. Later, he fell in love with a human man for some unknown reason. Finally, he was condemned by heaven and his soul was shattered. Speaking of this, Hyo's voice stopped. Cloud Dance in the bottom of my heart can't help but have some consternation and surprise. Down to earth? Suffering from the ordeal? Out of your wits? Those words really make Yunwu feel a little difficult to digest. Is there anything else in heaven besides the mainland of China? However, I can't help asking at this time. What about the human man after that? In modern times, many TV dramas of Liaozhai seem to have the same story about this kind of dog blood. Either scared to escape, or infatuated with each other. However, for what happened in reality, Yunwu was still curious. Black AO seems to be silent for a while. Just wait. It's gone. Disappeared? What do you mean? Are you beaten away with this false beast, Or, at that time, when the evil beast was attacked by the curse of heaven, the man also evaporated from the human world. There was no human in life and no soul in death. And this cliff is where the man disappeared. From then on, the ghost of the evil beast circled here, gradually forming the present hurricane cliff. The voice of Black Pride is a little low. However, his words made Yunwoo understand. It turns out that the hurricane cliff is actually caused by the ghost of this false beast. But, didn't the man disappear? Why did the ghost of the beast still exist? Just as Cloud Dance was meditating, the air above suddenly seemed to change. The murmuring voice came all the time, good happiness happiness. Why for what? Why can you human beings be so happy? The original charming and soft female voice suddenly seems to lose control of her emotions. The position of that wisp of white shadow twisted with the sharp sound. Gradually, it began to become ferocious. Hoo-hoo. The wind just calmed down and suddenly roared. The whole night, as if in an instant, was shrouded in the tornado-like wind under the general. There was no wind at the bottom of the cliff, but at this moment, it was blowing across the cliff. As soon as Long Qingxie's face sank, he got up from the ground and went to Yunwoo. Something's wrong. It seems to be able to control the hurricane here. I don't know if I know its origin. In the face of its changes, Yunwoo seems to feel calm. He turned his head to see the dragon and asked in a low voice, "Is it better?" Long Qingxie looked at the fearless woman around him and couldn't help raising his mouth. "You little thing, don't you think you are too weak for your husband?" The cloud dances the corner of the mouth tiny to lift up. "My man, I naturally won't see weak, however, temporarily you take a rest first, I come first." "Are you sure?" "For the time being, even if not, there are still you behind." In the face of dragon, Cloud Dance seems to have no scruples in the past. Dragon Qing evil smell speech, facial expression smile deepened a few minutes. Obviously, Yunwoo's words made him feel good. However, when they looked at each other as if there were no one else, the ferocious and twisted white shadow in the air seemed to be stimulated, and its voice was as sharp as that fierce weapon. "Give him back." All around the storm, like a big blade, came straight at Yunwoo and Long Qingxie. Cloud Dance at that moment, a leap at the foot, the hands of the thunder elements have been vacated, almost in an instant, straight away. The dragon's evil body flashed back. However, the pair of black eyes are not instant staring at the woman who is flying up. As if, as long as she appeared a little crisis, he would at any time. In midair, Cloud Dance is very close to the ferocious white shadow, and you can clearly feel its manic mood fluctuation. At this time, the voice of Black Pride came from my mind again. Take advantage of the fact that you can still control it, catch the ghost first. Smell speech, Cloud Dance, hands thunder element package. Almost in a flash of time, the body shaped towards the white shadow. But as soon as the Cloud Dance came near, originally still under the element of thunder, but in the slow, ferocious and twisted white shadow. But suddenly a break free from the shackles, such as the open fangs of the mouth. Almost in an instant, the strong wind, like a huge wave, directly engulfed the cloud dancing figure, Little Dance. Seeing this, Long Qingxie's face suddenly changed. In the twinkling moment of the golden light in my eyes, my body has jumped up and caught up with the wind like waves. Cloud Dance body at this time, suspended in mid-air. Around, is a vast white sky, white clouds soft, very quiet, very light. It's like sitting on the top of the layers of white clouds, with incomparable peace in my heart. It's very comfortable. It makes people sleepy. However, Yunwoo bites her tongue fiercely, with the smell of pain and blood, which keeps her conscious. Little girl, it's so comfortable and peaceful here. Why don't you relax and have a good sleep? Ear, soft spread that to charming but extremely gentle voice. The cloud dances to smell speech, turn head to that voice place to look past. I saw, on that white cloud, I don't know when, sitting a very charming and beautiful woman. Eyebrows like willows, eyes like cold stars, like people walking out of the picture. The body is dressed in white, not half of the complex decoration, spotless. However, the body seems to be tinged with a sense of loneliness. To be honest, for a moment, Yunwoo seemed to want to relax. What a pity. The cloud dances the corner of the mouth to raise slightly, smile not to smile, although this person does not pick to sleep, but, regarding this 10,000 zhang abyss place, cannot sleep really. The woman's beautiful eyes drooped slightly, and the undercurrent crossed her eyes. But the next second, her beautiful face is blooming with a smile, staring at the cloud. Do you think this is the abyss? Girl, when you come to this life, you have been suffering constantly, and even being chased all the way. Why are you so persistent now? It's better to be here with me and live quietly together. How about that? Smell speech, cloud dance, eyebrow pick. To live with you? Yes, this place is comfortable and peaceful. Time will always be fixed at this moment. It will never be old or die. It will always be so young and beautiful. Isn't that good? That sounds great, but unfortunately, I'm not very interested in living with women. Smell speech, the woman seems to be silent for a while. But after a while, the woman stood up slowly from the white cloud. Is that okay? See, a white fog shrouded. Just standing in front of me was a charming woman. In the twinkling of an eye, she became a tall and handsome man. However, seeing the pretty man's face. Cloud dance is a tiny eyebrow a pick, the bottom of my heart some surprised. Sublime? Has this false beast ever seen that noble one? Seeing that Yunwoo didn't make a statement, he thought she didn't like it. Don't you like it? What about this? The low and magnetic male voice said, just handsome face, in an instant changed another one. And this one, no one else, is the beautiful facial features of Dragon Qing Xie. Cloud dance sees this, the corner of the mouth raises. This face is really good, looking also pleasing to the eye, however, just that one is also very good, not as good as, changed to the previous one. Smell speech, error beast facial expression stiff for a while. Aren't you in love with the man with this face? Cloud dance also nodded directly, yes, but I found that your previous face is more interesting. Change it back. The beast seemed to hesitate for a moment. However, the beautiful facial features of Dragon Qing Xie were transformed back to the lofty appearance. This sublime in front of us is younger than the sublime we have seen in Yunwoo. Or better. Yunwoo then stood up from the white clouds and walked to the lofty front. Hand, gently touch the face, a face like appreciation. This face looks very good, the more I see the more pleasing to the eye, then use this face. Paw. Words did not finish, a slap, crisp clapped the cloud dance that hand. See only, lofty, that figure, already a turn back. In the twinkling of an eye, it turned back to the petite and beautiful woman figure before. On the charming and beautiful face, there is a touch of deep anger at this time. You are a woman who has changed her mind. The woman looked at the cloud dance, as if she saw something extremely disgusting and angry. The cloud dances to smell speech, take back the hand that is padded to open, also don't care to like yang mouth smile, so each other. You don't seem to be any better than me, do you? You're bullshit. The woman was a little emotional. What's wrong with me? Just now, didn't you say you wanted to live here with me? In order to cater to my liking, it has become a man's look, but... Speaking of this, cloud dance pause, Wei, just don't know, your lover, now in the end is life or death. If he knows you abandoned him for me, he doesn't know. See, cloud dance that words have not finished. All around the calm and serene sky, suddenly the clouds rolled up. Not for a moment. Dark clouds, a sense of oppression, straight from the attack. Shut up soft voice, suddenly very sharp drink. On the beautiful face of the woman, it was as if she was ferocious. In a flash, the space is distorted, powerful and sharp, and almost instantaneously hits the cloud. Right now. Cloud dance eyes a Lin, in the hands of thunder elements toss jump. As soon as he moved, he took advantage of the moment when his mood changed, and came in a flash, holding his wrist tightly. ZZ. Electric current ZZ sound, clearly visible in the woman's body winding up. The false beast belongs to the wind system. Rickshaw. The body, which was originally solid, gradually turned into a state of white shadow when surrounded by lightning. A scream like scream, suddenly burst into the air. The elements of cloud dance and thunder are surging up. I just want to catch it with the elements of thunder. But at this time, all around suddenly a twist. Dense clouds, space, such as glass fragments in general, burst into pieces, whistling hurricane, in an instant. This also makes Cloud Dance's face suddenly a lin. Because, at this time, she could see clearly that she was in the hurricane on the cliff. Whirling around the hurricane, like a knife and saw, the cold light shining against her, as if the next second, all hit her. At this time, my mind suddenly sounded the voice of black pride. Let's get it out of the way now. Contract? The second that Cloud Dance hears speech, Sign is stunned. Can the ghost be contracted? Summoner, can't you only contract Warcraft? She is familiar with the book of historical records of this strange world, but she has never seen it. It can also be seen in the soul. What's more, it's still a ghost. Why are you still in a daze? Although the false beast is a ghost, it is also a divine beast. When it slows down, I can't save your life now. Seems to be aware of the Cloud Dance has not moved, black proud rapid voice again. Since I got to know Hio, I have never heard that he was in a hurry. Cloud Dance at this time is also a quick reaction. Although Cloud Dance didn't expect to contract it at the beginning. However, Hio's words awakened her. This false beast, though it is a ghost. However, a wisp of ghost can form a hurricane cliff that even the youth is afraid of. We can see how strong its strength is. If she can get the contract, it's good for her too. At the moment, the clouds dance and the mind close. At the same time of mobilizing the internal force, the mental force suddenly rises. The battle of contracts. The voice began to murmur. At that moment, a dazzling color light flashed out in such a raging hurricane. Then, a mighty breath, set off a mysterious totem array, from the Cloud Dance with the wrong beast at the foot of gush out. The hurricane voice in the air was cut off in an instant. In the array of colored light, it is like a cage that can never escape, and it rolls away from the body of the evil beast. At the sight of the breath, the false beast, entangled by thunder and lightning, suddenly froze. You are the summoner. Canthus' like sharp voice, suddenly changed. But the next second. It's like meeting something that's extremely scared but extremely angry and yelling. Almost did not think, white shadow suddenly a twist, seems to want to break away from the hands of Cloud Dance. But the more it struggles, the more dazzling the color light of the array. All of a sudden, a green light came out of the contract array and hit its white eyebrow. Struggle, stop. Angry cry, also at that moment quiet down. The green light quietly wrapped it, but the array at the foot gradually closed. Finally, the array turns into a green light, which is divided into two. 1. Into the package of false beast, the road within the green light. Straight into the cloud of eyebrows. At that moment, a light green light flashed on Cloud Dance's right finger. When the light disappeared, a green ring of contract was wrapped around her finger. And it was then. A wonderful spiritual connection also formed a line between her and the false beast. The green light wrapped with the false beast began to fade away, revealing its original appearance. Master. The pleasant and comfortable call came. I saw that the ghost of the white shadow had turned into a snow-white rabbit. Some of them are special. They have big green eyes, long white tail and pink rabbit ears. Very cute. Even the Cloud Dance, which has always been disliked by small animals, can't help but be surprised and want to reach out and squeeze it. However, Yunwoo had some doubts at this time. Because, at the time of the contract, she just opened the contract array, and did not choose the master-servant contract or the equal contract at all. However, the contract array came down on its own. Moreover, this summoner can contract the ghost body. It's so strange. But where does Yunwoo know? Maybe it's strange for others. However, she is unique. The 7 elements in her body were originally obtained by swallowing the 7 source fruits. And she is the blood of the witches, and she has awakened the power of the witches twice. This is the first wizard summoner in history. Naturally, it is different from ordinary summoners. Of course, Cloud Dance doesn't know this at this time. After the formation of the contract, all around the hurricane, began to gradually calm down. At this time, a figure, also from the gradual retreat of the hurricane, rapid takeoff. Little thing. The cry came before the man arrived. Yunwoo reached out and hugged the false beast, which turned into a rabbit. Its name is Bai Shuer. Turn your head and look at the man coming straight from below. However, when he saw his ragged appearance, his brow could not help frowning, but a touch of heartache flashed through his eyes. This silly man must have just followed her and rushed into the hurricane. Otherwise, I would not be so embarrassed. As soon as Dragon Qing Xia came up, her eyes looked around her first. Are you all right? It's okay, but how did you get into this? Cloud Dance looks at him and asks. Long Qingxia lowered his head and swept his eyes. He didn't pay much attention to his clothes, which were cut by sharp weapons. It's okay. I was swept by the wind tail in the hurricane just a few times. Just a few sweeps. If you look at the scars on his body, you know that's not the case. Although Bai Shuer is a ghost, she knows how to create space in the wind. I'm afraid she also uses the same method to the dragon. However, he didn't say it, and Yunwoo no longer asked. It's this guy in your arms who made the noise? At this time, the dragon's eyes fell on the white rabbit in Yunwoo's arms. Shuebaier's green eyes glanced at the dragon, then closed. It seems that I don't like the guy in his words. However, as a god beast, even if it is just a ghost, contracted by human beings, it still retains some so-called arrogance. Well, that's it. However, its story is a little long. I'll tell you when I have time to go down to the bottom of the cliff to see if there is any other way out. Let's get out of here first. The wind of this hurricane cliff has begun to subside. I don't know if the strange boy will still be on the cliff. If he's still there, it's really hard to catch up. Even if she contracted Bai Shuer now, however, that young man's strength is extremely strange and powerful. Once you start, you may not be able to help that teenager. So, let's leave the forest first. Good. Dragon Qingxia reaches for Yunwoo's waist and prepares to return to the bottom of the cliff. Wait. Look at that. The cloud dances the sharp eye to sweep, that not far away on the cliff unusual. I saw that it was covered by green vines, like a more hidden cave. The wind in the cliff has stopped. Though, it's still dark. However, without the strange hurricane, we can see the surrounding environment clearly. Dragon and Cloud dance to the convex stone on the cliff. Found that the cave is not big, just a person's height. Outside is the green vine weeds growing. If the Cloud Eye, I'm afraid some difficult to find the existence of this cave. It's just that they haven't been waiting for Long Qingxia and Yunwoo to enter. A strange force came from the cave. Yunwoo and Long Qingxi frowned as soon as they felt the power. A tacit look at each other. Because the strange power from the cave is nothing else. Just before, in mid-air. It's a strange force that suddenly makes Yunwoo stiff and heavy. Just like now, just as soon as it's near the hole. Yunwoo felt that his body was stiff and heavy. The more he went in, the heavier his steps were. However, I do not know why, the closer she is, the faster her heart beats. It's like there's something in it that's attracting her. However, her body became so strange, and it seemed that something was preventing her from approaching. What the hell is that? At this time, compared with Cloud Dance, Dragon Qingxia seems to be better, just feel a little resistance, not much change. See Cloud Dance body strange, Dragon Qing evil frown way, little thing, or you wait here, I go in to have a look. No matter what was in the cave, he didn't want her to take risks. Yunwu shakes her head and stares at the dark cave quietly. Take me in. Although, I don't know why. However, she had a strong desire to go in. Long Qingxia frowned and stared at Yunwu for a long time. Finally, he didn't say anything more. Bend over and pick her up. Hold me tight, if you feel uncomfortable, or if something happens, I'll take you to run. Long Qingxia is serious. Yunwu raised his mouth and put his hands around his neck. Don't worry, this time, I won't let go. The love for men is very warm at the bottom of my heart. Dragon Qing evil smell speech, the corner of the mouth evil spirit smile arc also outline, immediately, hold her to walk toward the cave. Inside the cave. There was no light in the darkness. It's just, as soon as you walk into the lacquer black hole. Two people felt a cool wet idea hit. But it's not water. But in the air, there is a strange feeling of moisture. Although the Cloud Dance is held by the dragon, the heaviness in the body seems to increase a lot as soon as you enter the cave. The footstep of the man aggravates slow a bit. Cloud Dance at this time, a turn on the hand, a flame suddenly rose from her palm. The light enveloped me. This also let two people see clearly, here inside the cave situation. Almost at the same time. They both took a deep breath. What's this? The cemetery of the mass grave? Or the execution ground? In the narrow cave at the entrance, there is a very spacious space. On the cliff of the whole cave, there are dead bodies hanging. The rock cliffs full of walls are almost dyed red by blood. The blood red on the ground dyed the soil bags red. This is a cave full of corpses. The only weird thing is, whether it's a fragmented corpse or a corpse whose internal organs are all dug up, all of them are alive. As if she had just died. There was no smell of blood in the air, but it was full of that strange heavy pressure. It's a little nauseous. Even if, this Dragon Qingxia and Cloud Dance are both full of blood. I was really surprised by the picture in front of me. Who on earth did it? This situation should not be caused by Warcraft. If it was Warcraft, it would not hang up the corpse and dry the blood on it. And keep a corpse so fresh. Fresh keeping. This word just passed through Yunwu's mind, but suddenly trembled at the bottom of my heart. Is it going to be Dada? At this time, a small step came. Cloud Dance immediately put away the fire element in her hand. Dragon Qingxia holds Cloud Dance, body shape a flash, straight toward the corner of a convex stone after hiding. And just as they were hiding, see a corner of the cave, like a boulder moving sound came. After a while, two black-robed men with masks came out of the stone gate. It's strange how I feel that the wind outside the cliff seems to have stopped. The man in black, dragging a corpse in, said strangely. However, another black-robed man was impatient. Come on, don't chirp. The wind from the hurricane cliff has been blowing for hundreds of years. How can we stop it? We need to get rid of the corpse and send food to the people in the cell later. Hearing his companion's impatient voice, the man in black who first spoke seemed to be unhappy. Why are you angry with me when you are sent here? I'm still angry. It's the old man who died in the cell. If the old man doesn't have a hard mouth, why do we have to suffer here? Well, instead of complaining here, it's better to figure out how to get the treasure back from the old man. All the methods have been used up. Now he doesn't speak even when his wife and daughter die in front of him. What else can he do? He doesn't have a grandson. I didn't catch it. What do you know? It's a matter of time before the leader orders the people to be arrested. Two black-robed men hang the dragged body on the wall. He left the stone gate again. And hiding behind the stone, Dragon Qingxia dances with the clouds, which naturally brings their conversation to our ears. This cave is estimated to be the warehouse for storing food in the Gate of Beasts. Cloud Dance swept an eye that just was hanged two corpses. The bottom of the heart has a feeling of depression. It was a woman from number 1 middle school. Her eyes were wide open, and her eyes were full of fear. It seems that from that eye, we can see the pain and panic they suffered before they died. However, what disgusts Yunwoo's heart is, I thought that the people of the 10,000 Beast sect were just experimenting with Warcraft. But did not think, actually also edible human corpse. Let's go and have a look. Cloud Dance slants ahead toward the dragon to pour evil to whisper to say. Long Qingxia looks at her. Then, without asking any more questions, he took her and walked towards the stone gate. Leaving the cave, the strange heaviness disappeared from Yunwoo. Behind the stone gate is a dark passage. Among them, there are many forks, leading to where the dragon and Cloud Dance do not know. However, Yunwoo felt that at one end of the passage, something seemed to attract her. Follow your intuition. Until I came to an exit. Pa pa. The sound of whistling and whipping came from the exit. Yunwoo turned his head and looked at the dragon with a tacit understanding. Then he came closer slowly. It was an underground cell filled with all kinds of torture tools. As soon as it got close, a musty stench and a trace of blood came to my face. At this point, I saw an old man in his 60s tied to the shelf outside the cell. A black-robed man was greeting the bloody old man with a hot pepper whip. Not yet. Pa pa. The whip, the brush, the whip. As if he was not afraid to beat the old man to death. Come and have dinner. At this time, from another channel, came out a man in black with food. He whipped the old man in black, and then he stopped. What's good today? I'm starving. What's good to eat in this place? Don't be fussy. By the way, give this medicine to the old man first, so that he won't die. The man in black glanced at the old man on the shelf and threw a medicine bottle in his hand. It's trouble. I read a broken sentence. But the black-robed man went over and poured the medicine in the medicine bottle into the old man's mouth. I saw the old man who was dying. After being infused with the medicine, the body turned up a black air, and the breath seemed to recover in an instant. Vitality restored. Hiding in the dark channel of the cloud, see this scene. There was a trace of surprise in my heart. Little thing, that's not a good thing. If you take that medicine, you can't stop breathing, but your whole body is useless. What? Is it useless? Yunwoo opened his eyes slightly and couldn't help looking at the old man in the cell. What did the old man take from the beast gate? How could he be forced to confess in such a way? But at this moment, the old head on the shelf suddenly felt something, suddenly gasped. Then he turned his head suddenly. Eyes straight to the Cloud Dance with Dragon Qing evil shrink in the position, hoarse voice like roar. Help me. The Cloud dances with the dragon to pour evil facial expression to suddenly sink. However, at that moment, they had a tacit understanding. Two figures flashed out of the secret passage. One of them attacked the man in black. The cold light swept away. Blood spattered. The two black-robed people also reacted, and they were directly breathed out in their astonished eyes. Who is it? How can I break into this? It's a pity that they have to ask Yama for the answer. Without causing any movement, Long Qingxia and Yunwoo turned around and looked at the old man who was tied on the shelf. This old man, in such a situation, just found out their existence. Who are you? It's Cloud Dance. Because, she this close only then discovered. The strange feeling that always attracted her came from the old man. See that old man, after seeing I dragon to pour evil, then also fell on Cloud Dance body. After a while. Then he saw a touch of comfort on his pale face. More than 10 years later, I didn't expect that you have grown so big. Your mother should be at ease now. There was a trace of vicissitudes in the old man's hoarse voice. Cloud Dance is a Leng. What do you mean? He met her more than 10 years ago. You know her mother. You know my mother. Cloud Dance frowns. Yes. The necklace around your neck is the one I gave to her. What? He gave it to her mother. Isn't he a witch? But if he is a wizard, how can he? However, in Yunwoo's mind, the old man's hoarse voice said just after the doubt. Child, you are the only hope of the sorcerers. Before awakening, remember that people have ulterior motives. Don't blindly trust anyone, including the closest relatives and loved ones around you. At the end of the day, the old man looked at the dragon. Long Qingxie was in the old man's sight, and his brow couldn't help wrinkling. Cloud Dance smelled speech, but did not answer his words. She was not stupid, she knew what he meant. However, she is a cold person, can let her trust very few. What's more, her caution has already come from instinct. But once it's the person she identified, even if it's the devil from hell, she also recognized, since you know my mother, should you know where she is now? Cloud Dance looks at that old man to ask away. She doesn't care about witches. But everything that happened to her came from the involvement of the witches. Among them, maybe because of her mother. Before, Yun Lingshui said that her mother was imprisoned by the housekeeper Wu Gang. She wanted to find Wu Gang, but too much happened during that time. Now, the old man seems to know a lot. However, the old man heard the words, but did not answer her. But the line of sight fell on the dragon to poor evil body to see one eye, the eye ground vigilance is clearly visible. After that, he turned to Cloud Dance and said, Son, it's not the right time. One day, when the power of witchcraft in your body is fully awakened, many things will be clear to you. Full awakening? She has awakened for the second time. Does she need to wake up later? Cloud Dance frowns, just want to ask again. The old man's face suddenly changed, as if he had noticed something. Son, this is not the place you should come to for the time being. Go quickly. Before you have the ability, remember, don't be discovered by the people of the 10,000 Beast Gate. The old man immediately urged Yunwoo to leave. I'll take you away. Yunwoo still has too many things to understand. It's not easy to meet such an old man who knows the event. How can he leave like this? What's more, there was always a strange feeling in her heart. It seems that the old man has something to do with her. Just when Yunwoo wanted to split the old man's rope, Long Qingxie quickly put out his hand to stop him. Little thing, his body has been connected with the black vine. If you chop it down, what you are afraid of may be his life. Long Qingxie's words make the Cloud Dance move rigidly in place. Hiding. Join together. Cloud Dance eyes sweep away, fine really a look, heart inexplicable of fright. It was found that the bundle on the old man was not the black rope, but a black cane like a bundle. The vines were connected to the ground, and the roots of black vines covered the whole ground. Besides, the old man's feet were nailed under the tree trunk. It felt like the whole person was planted on the ground. Extremely cruel. Yunwoo's face suddenly sank, and there was a wave of anger in his eyes. Don't worry about me, child. I want to die, but come here and I'll tell you something. The old man looked at Cloud Dance happily, but said anxiously. Yunwoo knows that the old man seems to be on guard against dragon's evil. However, at this time, Cloud Dance did not explain too much. Step forward. The old man whispered a few words in her ear. Cloud Dance after hearing, eyes brush a touch of strange color. Child, remember, the witch clan will depend on you in the future. If you meet my grandson one day, as long as you tell me your identity, he will naturally give you things. The old man said, as if to account for the last words, no regrets. Then he turned his head and looked at Long Qingxie and said, Young master, this child will please you. The man is coming. Take her away from here. The farther the better. Long Qingxie looks at the old man with dark eyes. But he didn't say anything. He stretched out his hand and swept over the cloud-dancing waste, turned around and took her away from the secret road. And just after Long Qingxie and Yunwu left for a while, the sound of a heavy stone door moving came from the dungeon. After a while, a man in black robe came in slowly. But I just walked in. The man in black seemed to be aware of something, and the whole dungeon suddenly spread a wave. He's heading for the passageways in front of and behind the dungeon. But it didn't seem to find any trace. In this dark dungeon, there are still people who can break in. A voice of silence came from under the black robe. In the twinkling of an eye. See that black robe figure, remnant shadow in a flash, already stood in front of that old man. You gave it in. Under the black robe, the white and handsome one finally appeared ferocious. The old man didn't even look up and gave a cold hum. The national master thinks that I have something to hand over all over my body. This man, no one else. It was the master of Longshu State, Mo Yibing. I didn't expect that after so many years, you are still so stubborn. Ink Night Ice, that pale handsome face, slightly raised a touch of radiance. But the next second. Poof! The sound of flesh and blood. The white hand under the black robe penetrated the old man's abdomen. The old man's eyes burst out and he couldn't lift them in a breath. His whole face turned purple instantly. In this case, every day from now on, I'll take something from you. When you open your mouth, I'll stop. Ink Night Ice's low cold voice just fell, the white hand out. His white hands were red with blood. A gut in his hand. But when his palm spread out, a white flame leaped from his palm. The blood and the intestine turned into dust in an instant. Hands are white and clean again. Enjoy the process. Cold words just finished. That black robe figure, in a flash. In an instant, he went to the secret way where the dragon had just left with the cloud. At this time, the old man seemed to have just gasped. But that purple face, but suddenly because of abdominal pain and distortion, blue veins skyrocketed up. The wound in his abdomen. Under the automatic tightening of hiding, the black light emitted and began to heal. However, it would only double the pain throughout his body. Black rattan wrapped around him, with the medicine, let him die anyway. However, the pain is endless. Hoo-hoo. The howling sound of hurricane cliff wind is still blowing wildly at night. Standing in the black hole of the ice, eyes looking at the blowing hurricane. All of a sudden. A strange and powerful force, straight from the black hole as the center point, swept around. Half a ring. It's the power that's coming back. The doubts in the fundus of the eyes began to sink down gradually. Even he can't get in the hurricane roll of Hurricane Cliff. There shouldn't be anyone coming in from here. Who is it, where can it come from, and from the bottom of his eyelids? It's been a long time. Mo Yibing put away her suspicion and turned back. But I don't know. This scene is all seen by the dragon and cloud dance in the hurricane. However, at this time, they almost did not dare to breathe. Let alone action. Because just now, they saw it with their own eyes. It was under the strange power of sweeping that all the living plants and plants from the cave turned into a wisp of dust in an instant. And the body in the hurricane, they seemed to be able to feel, that force in cold hegemony. What kind of power has that got to? It's estimated that even the dragon can't see the evil. Can see that Ink Night Ice, Long Qing evil, that double eye Mao is unusually deep cold. Embrace the hand of cloud dance, also unconsciously tightened up. Yunwu turns her head and looks at the man beside her. When I saw his black eyes, I seemed to see something from his eyes. However, she did not say anything, did not ask. She is waiting for when he is willing to show his identity to her. 2 nights a day. When the sun rises from the east on the 3rd day. The edge of the forest of a steep mountain road, and finally out of the 2 figures. It's no one else. It's dragon and cloud dancing. The exit under the cliff is steep and winding, which is difficult to walk. But along the way, it was quite calm. At least, I didn't meet the people of the Beast Gate. Just, 2 people, just walked out of that mountain road. On the side of the stream, I met more than a dozen young girls who were playing and laughing. One by one wearing the same clothes, looks like a college uniform. When you see clouds dancing with dragons, all the noise and laughter seem to stop instantaneously. A road vision, want to see silly eyes, stare at cloud dance and dragon cheeing evil 2 people. And then Cloud Dance seems to just remember, she and Dragon poor evil at this time are not easy to look. Beautiful girl. An evil man. 2 people with an unusual eye-catching scenery, at this moment, by the dozen line of sight, staring straight at. However, in those eyes, Cloud Dance finally can't help but slightly frown, toward the side man way, go. Find a town first. After walking in the mountains for 2 days, originally, they were going to wash by the stream. But at this time, we have to give up. Yunwu really doesn't like being seen as a monkey. Long Qingxie doesn't know the little woman around him. He just wants to nod his head and leave with her. A young man with a trace of heroism stepped forward. You too, come down from Nanshan. Nanshan. The steep mountain road they passed is called Nanshan. Dragon Qingxie and Cloud Dance didn't speak. The young man was quite familiar. He continued with a gentle smile. It's said that if you cross the Nanshan mountain, you will be deep in the southern Warcraft forest. However, there is a hurricane cliff. The hurricane on the hurricane cliff is enough to crush people. It's very dangerous. If you want to experience in the forest, why don't you join us? We are the students of Longziguo Chief Representative College, Longkong Warrior College. Longshugua. Is this the boundary of Longziguo? Cloud Dance smell speech, can't help but pick eyebrows. However, her subtle action, let the youth see in the eyes, but think that they are Dragon and Sky Warrior Academy, and surprised. When the young man introduced their college, there were about 10 students behind him, and there was a trace of pride in his eyes. You know, Longshu Junior High School, who doesn't want to enter Longkong Warrior Academy? It's just like in the Zhou Dynasty, who doesn't want to enter the Shenwang Samurai Academy? However, listen to what the boy said. He mistakenly thought that Dragon Qingxie and Cloud Dance wanted to enter the forest to experience. But it was blocked by Hurricane Cliff, and turned back. For this misunderstanding, Long Qingxie and Yunwu will not explain. Thank you for your kindness, but no more. Dragon Qing evil mouth slightly yawn, not smile. With that, he walked side by side with Yunwu, ready to cross him. But the boy held out his hand and blocked their way. As the saying goes, meeting is predestined relationship. What's the matter? 2 of you also leave a name to make it convenient for us to meet each other in the future, right? Yes, where do you live? Look at your age, you should also be studying in college. Which college are you from? See, that youth words fall, behind those men and women also went up front, blocked the way. I've seen people chatting up, but I've never seen them. These teenagers are blocking other people's way. It's like trying a criminal. To be honest, it's really noisy. However, in this chaos, at the beginning of the youth, has been crowded in front of Yunwu. Young and handsome face, smile is very gentle and polite. Girl, I am the Prince of Longziguo 15, Longjing Bridge. The Prince of Longziguo. Looking at the trend behind Shun, the boy who deliberately came forward, Yunwu couldn't help looking at him a little more. Long San is the 3rd Prince of Longziguo. The Longjing Bridge in front of us ranks 15. That's Long San's brother. The Cloud Dance is the line of sight, poised to sweep a circle on this Longjing Bridge body, want to see a glimmer of familiarity from him. What a pity. It's not half the same. Instead, her gaze at the Longjing Bridge made the men around her dissatisfied. The long arm is outstretched, a moment for overbearing embrace her into the bosom. She's my woman. You don't have to hit her anymore. Get out of the way. Originally, this man's temper was too evil to be understood. But it seems that when I meet this woman, my temper seems to become inexplicable and domineering. It's just that Longjing Bridge heard, originally quite gentle face, brush a touch of cold killing. He is the prince of Longshu. Moreover, he is the most favorite prince of the country today. When did anyone dare to speak to him in such a tone? Don't say that he has a crush on the woman in front of him now. Even if he doesn't have one, as long as he wants to, who dares not to follow in Longzuguo? That's why, at the beginning of Longjing Bridge, they stepped forward to prevent them from leaving. In the territory of Longshu, no one heard his name, dare not give him face. But it's obvious that these two people in front of them don't give face. If you want to go, you can leave your name first. Longjing Bridge raised his eyes to meet the evil eyes of the dragon, and his pretty face was cold. Dragon Qing evil smell speech, the face seems to raise a strange sneer. Do you want my name or her name? When Longjing Bridge heard the words, it also gave a cold hum, but it also showed a sense of hegemony. I'm not interested in men. Is it? Long Qingxie's sneer deepened a little. But it's a pity that she's not interested in men who don't have eyes, is she, little thing? Say, Long Qing evil return true turn head, looking at Cloud Dance to ask away. Originally, Cloud Dance was not supposed to speak, but to watch a play. Can Dragon Qing evil suddenly asked, let Cloud Dance a burst of laughing and crying. If this man is really impatient, he will slap these people in the air. When he asked her in public, he was just a little childish. However, he even likes to play like this, so she'll accompany him. Yes. I don't like things that don't have eyes, except you, of course Cloud Dance nods to say, but added such a sentence finally. Dragon Qing evil smell speech, discontented like pinched her that thin waist. This little thing really doesn't comfort him at all. However, in Cloud Dance that words a nod reply, but let that Longjing Bridge facial expression become extremely ugly. How dare you call me something that doesn't have eyes? Voice, suddenly gloomy anger. Yes? It's just a fact. Cloud Dance said with an indifferent, sincere face. Long Qingxie raised her eyes and kneaded her hair with a smile, but she said to Yunwu with a serious face. You little thing, I've told you for a long time. Sometimes, don't speak so sincerely. Even if he doesn't have eyes, don't speak out. Look, he looks so ugly. Yes, you are right. Yunwu couldn't agree. This one sings one and one, but lets the present person's facial expression not be very good looking actually. Especially the Longjing Bridge. It's almost as if I'm angry. Well, you are a bold and unruly man. Since you are so ungrateful, don't blame me for being rude to you. A drink, the Dragon Well Bridge fighting off the moment, a sword out of the air. The talent of the youth level, the later stage of the 4th level. This talent and strength is much better than the group of students of the King Warrior Academy that Cloud Dance met outside the Northern Warcraft Forest. Presumably, in Longshu's country, this talent is very good. I can see that Longjing Bridge is in such a posture. After that, more than a dozen students were all fighting, and their swords were flying. One by one in a row, there is a kind of momentum that is called a handsome. It's just that. No matter how handsome their posture and momentum are, they have the highest strength in the later stage of the 4th level. In the eyes of Long Qingxie and Yunwu, they are not really good enough. However, Long Qingxie and Yunwu didn't want to fight with them. Well, stop playing and let's go. Cloud Dance turns ahead and says toward the dragon. Long Qingxie shrugged, okay, listen to you. Two people as if no one else like finish, also over the line of more than a dozen people, ready to leave. This is a move. But it's very angry. In particular, the posture is very good, more than a dozen students, this face is not good looking at the moment. They are organized and trained from the college. Originally, I was going to go to the Warcraft Forest to find some Warcraft that I could practice my skills and improve the skills I learned in the college. All of them are gifted children. Which once thought, this forest has not gone in, but met so two beautiful men and women. It looks weak, too. But arrogant too, in public ridicule scold them is not long eyes of things even. Now, still so, ignore them. It's arrogant. If we don't teach them a lesson today, we will think that the people in Longkong Warrior Academy are incompetent. What are you doing? Do it. The conversation just fell behind. I saw that more than a dozen students, led by Longjing Bridge, immediately raised their swords, danced to the clouds with an angry face, and swept away with dragon's evil spirits. It's all your fault. Do it yourself. Cloud Dance Head also didn't return, just whispered to the man nearby. Dragon Ching evil mouth outline, evil spirit smile, it is really noisy some, then let them shut up. Words fall. Just now, the tall figure who was still dancing in the clouds passed by in a flash. Pa pa pa. There was a very orderly sound. Ah ah scream, also in an instant very orderly ring out. When the man comes back to Yunwu, just after the attack of more than a dozen students, has been lying on the ground, ouch, groan. One by one, his face was swollen like a pig's head, green and purple. But at this time, more than a dozen people were staring at the dragon in surprise and panic. Including the Longjing Bridge. How fast is that man's speed just now? Before they could react to this, they just slapped a dozen of them on the ground. What's more, they hit them in the face without hitting them anywhere. Did he mean it? But it also surprised them one by one. Little thing, what's the matter? Is my husband just handsome? The dragon looks at the clouds with a grin, and is extremely evil. This man really never forgets to ask for a reward at any time. Cloud Dance smile, just want to nod, answer him. But at this time, there was a wave in the air. Yunwu's face suddenly sank. Long Qingxie's face was suddenly cold. They just wanted to escape, but it was too late. I saw that the thin boy in the gray robe had come from the twisted air and stood up in the air. I thought you were crushed from the hurricane cliff, but suddenly, the hurricane disappeared, but you are still alive. The young man's sharp and cold eyes are locked on Yunwu. From his eyes, it seemed that he could see the hot and strange color. However, at this time, his eyes swept to Long Qingxie. When I saw his handsome and evil face, my eyes suddenly narrowed and looked at him like danger. You look like this. No wonder she'll be thinking about you. She, of course, means Cloud Dance. In that case, you can't keep your appearance. When the boy said that, his hands turned up, and the white flame leaped from the palm of his hand. Even in the daytime, when the white flame came out, the air was cold. I saw a dozen students lying on the ground groaning. When I saw this scene, my pupils shrank. Who are these people? Long Qingxie's eyes were cold at this time. It turns out that the son of the Grand Master of Long Shugua not only likes to win his wife's favor, but also envies the appearance of men. I saw that the words of Long Qingxie fell, and the students lay on the ground, all in a daze. Longjing Bridge was a little surprised, looked up, and looked at the boy in mid-air. The son of Long Shugua's national teacher. Is he the son of the national teacher? Looking at the boy, Longjing Bridge was puzzled and strange. Because, for the rumors of the son of the national master, as a prince, he is really clear. It's said that today's national master of Longshu State is over 100 years old, and he is the body of 9 yin. He knows heaven and yin and yang. As long as it is what he predicts, it will be 10 to 10. It's the same name as the national teacher of Zhou dynasty, who is known as divine divination. However, the national master of Longshu kingdom is more mysterious than that of Zhou dynasty. Although he is a national teacher, he seldom participates in state affairs. In addition to the lord of Longshu kingdom, few people have seen the national teacher. Even the Longjing Bridge, which was favored by the lord of Longshu kingdom, only met the national master once in a grand ceremony many years ago. I'm dressed in black robes. I haven't even seen a face. However, the rumor about the son of the national master of Longshu Kingdom is the most bizarre one. As far as he heard. As soon as he was born, the son of the national teacher ate his mother. He was more pure-in than the 9-in body of the national teacher. He was born without body temperature and fed with human blood. After the full moon, the national teacher sent him away from Longshu. As for where it was sent and what happened behind it, no one can know. Originally, Longjing Bridge was regarded as some hearsay, but it didn't take it seriously. Because it's too exaggerated and illusory to eat your mother as soon as you are born. But I didn't think of it. Today, I heard that the boy who suddenly appeared in the air was the son of the national teacher. How could he not look more? However, Longjing Bridge line of sight, but it seems to provoke the air youth dissatisfaction, sharp eyes Ali. In the air, the cold and oppressive force directly attacked him. This immediately scared Longjing Bridge face a white, quickly took back the line of sight. It's bad. It's not nearly pissed. My wife's terrible eyes. In fact, there are weak students lying on the ground. The young man also disdained to fight, just the breath of the cage in the past, the Longjing Bridge scared legs soft, it is really enough cowardly. At this point, however, no one is paying too much attention to them. I saw the boy in mid-air. On hearing the words of the dragon, his face was very cold, and it was a little chilly again. Wife? Looks? Murmured the youth's mouse son, suddenly a turn, pupil mouth flash, a peevish look to Cloud Dance. Are you really his wife? Like his face? This sentence, asked inexplicably strange. However, it is not difficult to feel his intention of killing hidden in the anger. As if, as long as Yunwu nods, he will kill Longqingxi directly. Cloud Dance lifts Mao, purple pupil coldly looking at that youth, but didn't answer him. Her answer never needs to be answered by anyone. The silence of Yunwu made the boy look more and more ugly. His mood seemed to rise gradually, and the white flame in his hand also soared. Good, good. The voice became chilly. At this time, the evil spirit of the dragon rises. It seems that you really like my woman. Unfortunately. The words did not finish, the smile on the face of Long Qingxia instantly asterisked, an extreme cold was raised, and the black eyes under his eyes instantly transformed into golden pupils. Anyone who hits her will die. Almost at that moment, the ape came out, the tall figure had jumped up in the air and attacked directly. To die. Young people see this, very disdain. As soon as his body flashed, the white flame turned into a white sword and went up. In his eyes, even Wuzuan is not enough to see. What's more, this man is just a wuxing level. Just, in that next instant, the youth originally disdained the eye bottom, suddenly brushed a color of amazement. Failed to meet? Dragon Qing evil figure, under his attack, suddenly disappeared without a trace. How is that possible? In front of him, can anyone be faster than him? Behind him, suddenly a very small fluctuation hit. The young man's eyes narrowed in an instant, and he turned quickly. The white sword had already attacked. Bang! The two men's swords were against each other at that moment. Hum! A wanton roar like buzzing sword roar sounded in mid-air. See this scene. Which of the following students, such as Longjing Bridge, who had already got up from the ground, retreated to one side in horror? But can't help staring at the fight in the air. The man just disappeared in a flash, but in a twinkling of an eye, he was right. The roar of the two side swords was loud and buzzing. Even if separated in the air, you can clearly feel the fierce air. What strength has that achieved? Looking at the dragon in the sky. The next dozen students, remembering that they had just stopped them, immediately felt a cold sweat rising behind their back. It seems that he just slapped them in the face. He was really lenient. Cloud Dance is from the beginning, eyebrows lock up. However, it is at this moment. Long Qingxia and the sword in the young man's hand confront each other to a climax. Suddenly and abruptly. At the moment of separation, the force fluctuated like a raging wave. With two people as the center, it spreads fiercely. Although on the ground that height to the side of the Longjing Bridge and other students, face in an instant is a change. At the moment of reaction, more than a dozen people almost immediately aroused a fight and wrapped themselves up. However, it is still a little late. In the aftermath of that fierce, he was shot out of the internal injury. Poof! Poof! More than a dozen people, almost at the same time, sprayed a mouthful of blood and turned pale. I'm afraid they didn't expect that the two people who stopped on the way would lead them to such a disaster. They're innocent. But when the buffer is too strong to see that just under the aftershock, still face unchanged, not subject to any fluctuations, standing there when the clouds. Longjing Bridge was hit again. What's going on? She looks like a teenager. Is her ability better than them? One by one, she suffered from internal injuries caused by aftershocks, but she was like a nobody. Aunt, girl, danger, come here. Longjingqiu at this time, but still, gentlemen, Chaoyun Dance called. She stood closer to the two men than they were fighting. Yunwu turns a deaf ear to the call. From the beginning, the sight was locked on the dragon's evil spirit in mid-air. She doesn't move, because, when Dragon Qing Xie moves, she whispers in her ear. It's a man-to-man thing. Men and men. Perhaps, at this time, many people will say a word. Beauty is a curse. But Yunwu never thought it was right. Why is beauty a disaster? The so-called beauty, but a superficial excuse. The so-called disaster is that she is not strong enough to confront her enemies. So, her man to her guard, she led. However, she would never allow anyone to hurt her at this time. The boy's eyes were fixed on the dragon, and his heart trembled in the dark. With his own strength, he can never be his opponent. However, his breath is, "Who are you?" The numbness of the young man's palms and mouths is the result of the combination with the dragon's evil power. The palm of Long Qingxie's hand was also hurt. Even the son of a national teacher, he almost worked hard. If, at this time, he would be the national teacher, Long Qingxie's golden eyes are full of haze. Although the heart is not willing, but also reminded him. He still needs to keep a low profile. Seeing that the dragon was silent, the young man's conjecture deepened a little. It seems that I have to invite my father out. The boy squinted and said coldly. Then, the boy suddenly looked up. Ouch! A very sharp audio, which was like a beast but not a beast, suddenly came out of his mouth. Instantaneous sound amplification is thousands of miles away. At this moment, not only the dragon changed his face. Even Cloud Dance is also in the instant face a startle, the eye ground kill idea ting rise. The figure suddenly jumped into the air, and the consciousness linked with the second layer of dead fire of Chaos Hall, and quickly led to the black mark on the wrist. When the palm turns and the dark flame leaps out, it instantly condenses into a black sword. There was no hesitation. Suddenly, he stabbed at the young man's heart. Seeing this, Long Qingxie has a tacit understanding. The ape pours black light into it and attacks back. Poof! Double swords into the body. The boy raised his head and yelled, then stopped. The young man slowly lowered his head and looked at the black sword that was inserted into his heart and the ape that was used to his back. There's no blood coming out of the wound. Originally pale and pretty face, began to twist. How dare you kill me? The boy squinted at the Cloud Dance. Yunwu looked at the boy with cold eyes. If you dare to move him, I will dare to kill you. In a word, the boy's eyes were full of ferocity. Okay, I'll kill you first. A crazy breath suddenly came out of the boy's body. The two swords inserted in his body were instantly ejected by the strange force. Yunwu's face changed, and he retreated for a long time to stabilize himself. And when he saw that he wiped off her black fire with a white flame, the wound in his heart healed strangely fast. Cloud Dance's heart suddenly jumped. The black fire coagulated sword was inserted into his heart. How could he do nothing? However, Yunwu noticed that there was no rhythm of healing when Long Qingxie was inserted into the wound that ran through his back. Can the dragon's evil power hurt the boy? But at this time, it was not the time to entangle with him, while the boy was still healing. The cloud dances toward the dragon and drinks low, go. Long Qingxie nodded in tacit agreement and was preparing to leave. But in this moment, a strange twist directly monopolized their way. At that moment, the dragon and cloud dance felt that strange and strong breath came from afar. It's him. That night, they saw Long Shugua's national master, Mo Yibing, in the cave under Hurricane Cliff. See, that black robe figure, a flash namely arrive. It's still far away. But not a few breaths, that tall black robe figure, already appeared in front of everyone. Daddy, as soon as he saw the black-robed figure, his mood was obviously relieved. Ink night ice black robe under the deep black eyes, calm as water to see the eyes of the youth. With a flick of the hand, a black air came out of the white hand under the black robe and shrouded the young man's body. I saw that the young man's wound, which could not be healed, began to heal. Go back and eat something. Lukewarm sound, cold came. At this moment, it seems that there is no sense of danger in this person. But only the dragon who had been blocked and danced with the clouds was very clear. In the face of this ink night ice, their hearts have that inexplicable shivering sense of horror. This Moibing is definitely not what they can face up to now. Dad. They. Before he finished speaking, the white hand under the black robe gently raised to stop him from speaking later. I know. Go back. What else did the boy want to say? However, my body has become like this, and I really need to go back to eat and supplement. So, lift the eye haze to see cloud dance after one eye. Then body shape in a flash, immediately quickly toward the direction of deep forest. At this time, Mo Yibing's face under the black robe slowly emerged from under the black robe. His face was pale without any blood. Inexplicably, it gives people a strange feeling that it is a cold corpse. That night, you broke into my underground cell? It is still not warm voice, asked. At this time, the dragon and cloud dance, each side of the direction. In the face of this ink night ice, there is a sense of crisis in my heart. The cloud dance originally wanted to open a mouth, but the dragon poured evil but preempted to open a mouth. It turns out that the dungeon of the Beast Gate was the work of the national master. I don't know. The leader of the state of Longshu knows about it. The sound of Long Qingxie's smile was not concealed, which was enough for the following Longjing Bridge and a dozen students to hear clearly. It's no surprise that the dragon has fallen into evil. Let those students are stunned. Beast Gate? Where is that? National Division, there are underground cells. However, at this time, no one dares to say anything. Mo Yibing looks at Long Qingxie coldly with her eyes raised. When she sees his golden pupil, it seems that there is an undercurrent. So you are the household name of Long Shao. Long Shao. Is Long Shao, the leader of the Dragon Pavilion with wealth all over the three kingdoms? Long Jingqiu and others were surprised when they heard the words. They secretly looked up at the dragon. It is said that Long Shao has always been mysterious. Even those who have met him cover their faces with half of the ghost mask. But I didn't think that the man who was blocked today was the little dragon. When the dragon heard the evil words, he drew the outline of his mouth, which was full of evil spirits. It seems that the master's sharp-eyed ability is really the same as in the legend. Mo Yibing's bloodless lips also raised slightly. Is that right? It's a normal conversation. But in the next second, Yunwu's face changed. Be careful. Before her voice fell, the picture on the other side had changed into another scene. Black robe figure, such as ghost virtual shadow appeared in front of the dragon. White hands, dyed with a black air, directly attacked the dragon. The movement looks very plain and elegant. However, it is too fast to be caught by surprise. The moment that Dragon Qingxia's face sank, he suddenly jumped up and flashed. Hiss! The sound of clothes being cut and torn. Long Qingxia's abdominal clothes were torn open, and a bloodstain oozed from it. Moibing is not attacking. And then stood in the air, cold eyes looking at the dragon. This is the wound you made to my son. After hearing the words, the dragon reached out and stroked his lower abdomen. When you see the blood stained with a trace of black gas on the tip of your hand, the golden eyes are deep, but the corners of your mouth are outlined. I saw that his abdominal wound, stained by the black air, was cracked and could not be healed. This is the wound after the attack of Mo Yibing. What does that mean? Long Qingxia knew exactly what it was. On the other side of the cloud, seeing this, the bottom of my heart suddenly trembled. Damn it! This Ink Night Ice is too strong, also too strange, is not an opponent at all. Cloud Dance Hand's black fire condensed into a black sword Ling, is ready to go to Dragon Qing evil side. But at this time, Long Qingxia's eyes swept towards her. It stopped her. The old man said that her identity must not be known to the people of the Beast Gate. Before, Long Qingxia also tried to stop her from showing her which identity in front of the young man. Why on earth? She really doesn't know. But she felt that before she became strong, her witch identity would inevitably bring unimaginable consequences to her. But, isn't it, just watching? Ink Night Ice corner of the eye, swept eye cloud dance. At that moment, Yunwu seemed to be locked by something, and his heart was in a panic. That feeling, just like at the beginning, at the stone gate of the Beast Gate, was staring at by what strange feeling. Are you a witch? A voice without any emotion came out of the pale lips, like asking and affirming. The cloud dances, the brow instantly a wrinkly. Long Qingxia's face was cold and his heart was tight. As soon as he grasped the épée in his hand, the golden pupil flashed coldly, your opponent is me. See only, the words of Dragon Qingxia fall, toward Cloud Dance handed one eye. At the next moment, his figure flashed quickly, straight towards the ice in the dark night. Let's go. This is a word that Long Qingxia says in silence when he looks at Yunwu. Go. He wanted her to escape. It's just, he's still there. Where else can she escape? Ink Night cold eyes like looking at the attack of the Dragon Qingxia, his dark eyes, like empty general silence, can't see any emotional fluctuations. But the moment of Dragon's evil attack. The shadow under the black robe was empty. In the twinkling of an eye, his white fingers had caught the épée of Long Qingxia. Gently, a twist. Bang! The sharp épée broke in that instant. Schwa! Ink Night Ice a backhand, that cut off the blade, break the air swept toward the Cloud Dance heart. At this moment, Long Qingxia's face suddenly changed and yelled, get out of the way. Yunwu's face also changed, she also wanted to get out of the way. But come on. It was extremely fast. No chance for Yunwu to dodge. Even, there's no time to fight. Poof! The sound of the knife into the flesh. At that moment, Long Qingxia's face suddenly changed, and his eyes were almost ferocious. Yunwu also felt the pain of flesh and blood being penetrated. However, the next second, but let everyone look silly. The blade is in the flesh. But a mass of black fog suddenly burst out of her body at the moment when it penetrated into the heart of Yunwu. The strange black fog envelopes the whole body of Yunwu. The broken knife fell and the wound healed quickly. Mo Yibing suddenly changed her face when she saw the black fog. Black how possible? Mo Yibing looks at the moment when the black fog is shrouded in the clouds. In the depth of the cold eyes, there finally appeared an uneasy disbelief, white hands clenched into fists. No way. It has disappeared for thousands of years, how can it still exist? However, the smell of black fog, but how can not do false? In her body, there is girl, run away now. At this time, Cloud Dance in the mind sounded black proud, like the voice of forbearance. Hyo is now imprisoned and fixed in the dead door, but he still forces his hand to save her. It is conceivable that it must also bear some pain. But in my mind, the voice of black pride fell, and I didn't wait for Cloud Dance to escape. Mo Yebing's mood seems to be affected by some fluctuation. Her face suddenly twisted and her body moved strangely. In the twinkling of an eye, he came to the dragon in front of the evil. Poof! Did not give any reaction to come over the opportunity, white hands directly through the dragon Qing evil abdomen. This scene, as if at this moment the general freeze frame. Yunwu felt that all the movements stopped, but Zhengleng opened his eyes wide and looked at the dragon running through his abdomen. My heart is beating hard. The blood seemed to freeze down at that moment. Brain a blank, let her face at that moment, white and down. Let him go. The voice of Cloud Dance is like the horse and extremely cold from the Arctic at this time. Mo Yebing's eyes are gloomy, looking at the clouds. Now the Cloud Dance body that regiment black fog, although already subsided. However, he could still see a strange and crazy greed in his cold eyes. Give that power in you. That power. Black pride. Don't say that Hyo can't hand it over. Even if he can, it's impossible. See, Cloud Dance didn't move. Ink Night Ice I ground a cold anger flits by, in the hand a moment force. Poof! Long Qingxie's face turned white and blood gushed from the corner of his mouth. But at the same time, Long Qingxie took the opportunity to stab the broken épée into the crazy Moi Ice. Leave me alone, let's go. The dragon turns to the cloud and roars. Go. In my eyes, she can still go there. The voice of Mo Yebing's strange sneer rings out. I saw that the broken sword that pierced into the ice body of Mo Yi melted under the black air. Yes. It's melting. And at that moment, Ink Night Ice hand a draw back, blood spatter out, turn a hand to throw out Dragon Qing evil. Turn abruptly. Black robe figure strange move, straight toward Cloud Dance flash past. Since you don't consciously hand it in, I'll do it for you. When you see the moment when the dragon's evil body is thrown out, Yunwu felt that the string in her heart was broken in an instant. That pair of purple pupil Mao, in that instant extremely angry be congested, red silk diffuse. The cold anger in my heart was magnified countless times at that time. The speed of ice in the ink night is strange. See, at that moment, his white palm, instant into a gloomy white bone, straight attack cloud heart position. Click. The sound of a broken bone sounded. Ink Night Isoleng, immediately after, that greedy Mao bottom deep place, suddenly flashed a color of amazement. I can only see. Cloud Dance is like that, do not dodge, unarmed out, just like that in mid-air intercepted his hand into bones. Just now there was a crack when the bone was broken. It's not the bone of Ice's hand, but the Cloud Dance. At this time, she clenched the hand of Mo Yebing's white bone hand. Because of the momentum, her wrist was twisted by fracture. However, she didn't seem to feel any pain at all. She held it tightly. You, hurt, he. Voice, very cold, very angry, word by word spit out. Zitong is covered with red silk. He stares at the ink ice in front of him coldly. He holds the white bone palm and keeps tightening it, ka. This time, it's the sound of clear bones being crushed. Mo Yebing's face changed at that moment. When the lower body moves, the white bone hand pulls back. I saw that his hand was crushed and cracked by her bare hand, but it wasn't this that changed his face. It's the breath in her at this time. Which saint? I don't think so. But it's definitely the smell of the witch people. It can't be wrong. You are one of the witches. Under the eyes of Mo Yebing in consternation, her face was suddenly cold. Cloud Dance at this time, but no mind to pay attention to his face, also no mood to pay attention to his words. She just felt that her heart was burning with anger. You hurt him. This sound is as cold as an Arctic glacier. Mo Yebing frowns and looks at the clouds in front of him. The black air gradually covers his whole body. You think you can hurt me? Cloud Dance turns a deaf ear, red silk purple pupil coldly stares at him, more of fury repeats, you hurt him. Ink Night Ice finally cold face, black air attack die, I hurt him again how, kill him is as easy as a paw. And his words, it seems that the instant completely angry Cloud Dance. How dare you hurt him? A roar like a roar from the bottom of my throat. A stream of purple air swept over her red eyes, and her anger seemed to rise in that moment. See, at that moment. The originally sunny and windy weather suddenly changed. The wind began to howl, the sky clouds surge. Fire, the temperature soared instantaneously, red light gradually shrouded the whole sky. The stream is stagnant. All around the trees and plants were suddenly rocking. The ground shakes. What's going on? What's going on? Is the world changing color? At this moment, the Longjing Bridge and others on the ground who dodged farther away. Looking at this sudden scene, the bottom of my heart suddenly trembled. He looked at the cloud dancing in the air and the national teacher with astonishment. Mo Yibing didn't seem to think of this sudden situation. Until 3 lights flash out of the void. In the light of the fire, it was a small figure that was neither human nor animal. A pair of red wings spread out like a flame, and the fierce tusks with canthus penetrated into it abnormally. In the red light, there was a huge red flower, its bud was open, and its tusks were grinding with a clatter. In the green light, it is a rabbit, not a rabbit. However, in its green eyes, it is as strange as the sword. What's this? Mo Yibing suddenly shrinks his pupils when he sees the flash of the 3 lights. You are the summoner. It's still the 3rd department. There was an extremely distorted tone in his voice, but it was not difficult to recognize the murderous change in his tone. This is the same situation as last time. When the boy learned that she was a witch and a summoner, he had the same reaction. For her, the killing was instantaneous. However, Yunwu was at this moment. As soon as he turned over his hand, Guwu de Geo was released in an instant, while Lei Element was released in an instant, it was injected into Guwu de Geo. ZZ. Violent current, strong breath of power. Mo Yibing's face sank again. Ray Element. Your 4 systems in one. In his voice, the murderer suddenly began to fluctuate. Well, you can't keep it. The ink night is cold and silent, and a layer of black air rises from the bottom of his eyes. As soon as he turns his hand, a white bone suddenly condenses out of his palm. Ouch! At the moment when the white bone sword came out, the roaring sound of the sword in the void was as strange as a fierce ghost roaring. You are the first time that I have asked for my ghost bone sword in decades. Wait a minute. After I drain your strength, I will let you die a little more happily. The gloomy words have not yet fallen, but the figure of black robe has flashed away. This time, he was not as careless as before. But a hand, with extremely fast speed, straight attack Cloud Dance fatal point and go. Cloud Dance that pair of red silk purple pupil, extremely cold. Also at that moment, the wind elements in the instantaneous package, a retreat at the foot, the hands of the ancient sword across the air split. ZZ Huhu. At that moment, the fierce sword chi was raised. Bang! Under the confrontation of 2 extremely strong breath, the power afterwave burst out in an instant and hit the ground directly. Bang bang! The sound of bombing, on the ground, roared. Fortunately, there were more than a dozen students in Longjingqiu before. Seeing that the situation was not right, they were far more in the morning. Otherwise, under the after effect of the power, there will be no bones left. However, it's both joy and surprise to see such a battle with one's own eyes at such a close distance. It's obviously not what they can see. At that time, will you be killed? But can't help but want to peep, so, a bit more than to avoid. But the battle is becoming more and more intense, and the strength is stronger and stronger, which makes everyone pale by the aftershock of strength in midair. Snow White. The cloud dances and cheers. Under the green light, Bai Shuer's body twisted and soared, and the sharp light of the green beast flashed. The hurricane instantly involved the cloud dance. Within the hurricane, space is distorted. Mo Yibing attacks strangely, but the sword attack fails. The wind of Hurricane Cliff? See that hurricane, the ink night ice I bottom cold am I. It turned out that she was the one who broke into the dungeon that day and met the old man, and at this time, Xiaoqiu and Hong Ling are not willing to be outdone. The same fire system, instantaneous up and down, double into one. Take advantage of the wind and help the fire. The hurricane surged wildly and attacked the fire. It was like the fire dragon, whistling and rolling up. It hit the ice in the dark night. Mo Yibing's face changed at that moment. Eyes startled flash of the moment, quickly aroused the body black gas to protect the body, the hand ghost bone sword in the air to split to resist. But in front of the raging hurricane, his attack has not yet fallen, and his figure is directly engulfed by the hurricane of the raging fire dragon. At that moment, the world was quiet. As if I only saw the red dragon rolling up in the air. Roar! The roar broke through the air. Under that hide to don't know that corner, Longjing Bridge and other 10 students, looking at this scene, the bottom of my heart extremely trembled. I almost didn't drop my eyes on the ground. Has it been wiped out? That's the most mysterious national teacher of Longshu Kingdom, who was destroyed by a young girl. Unbelievable horror surged up in the hearts of more than a dozen people. But what's more frightening to them is that summoner. That girl is a summoner. For hundreds of years, it has almost become a legendary summoner. Now, it appears in front of them. And, not long ago, they stopped chatting up. What's the mood? I'm afraid they can't even say it now. I just feel that my heart is shaking and my legs are soft. But still can't help, looking up silly straight eyes like staring at the mid-air, standing in the slender figure of the dragon hurricane. In the depths of his eyes, he felt the burning urgency. Summoner. Is this the power of the summoner? No wonder people in the whole mainland of China dream so much about the professional ability of the summoner. That strength is really terrible and amazing. But it didn't last long. Hurricane Fire Dragon, suddenly came a tearing sound. The cloud dance in the fire dragon, the body suddenly a vibration, the next second, the face Shua ran a white. Bang! A huge explosion, in the fire dragon hurricane, burst out in mid-air. The sparks were all over the place. A figure in that burst under the waves, a moment quite embarrassed, instantly fly out. Poof! A mouthful of black blood spewed out, which still left the flame of hurricane, strange instant subsided. At this time, the black robe on the ice of the ink knight was a little burnt out. Originally that cold and indifferent posture, stained with a trace of embarrassment. However, his black eyes, but turned into a very black horror, as strange as the black hole, people feel that the sweat is up. For the first time in decades. Someone can force his noumenon out, which makes him so embarrassed. For the first time, he was forced to use his own blood to put out the fire. I feel the burning pain on my body. Ink night ice that pair of dark eyes, such as the hell to the devil. Lift eyes dead stare at that explosion, also was shocked out of a good distance of cloud dance. This girl's fire element, with pure fire, can not only hurt his body, but also his origin. Before, it was the black fog ability. Now there is such a strange flame. How much power is there in her body? If he can suck all those forces in her body, then think of here, that pair of black eyes deep, gradually rise a little greedy excitement. Cloud dance in the power was split burst open moment, the body breath was scattered, a sweet throat, a bloody rush to the throat. Can cloud dance in steady body of that moment, but again a bite of teeth, abruptly will blood to swallow back. Wipe the blood from the corners of your mouth. Lift up that pair of red silk diffuse purple pupil, squint up mouse sun to greet to see up ink night ice that pair of dark eyes. From it, she saw his greedy excitement. Bai Shuer seems to have been impacted, and her white hair is stained with a trace of blood. However, its green sharp eyes are still proud and cold. Xiaxieka and Hungling were washed away at the moment of explosion. Because Hungling couldn't fly, she fell into the forest below. The little stink spread its red wings and grounded around the clouds. That pair of young big sprout eyes, at this time is also gloomy cold kill, learned to cloud dance, raised the claw to wipe off the blood mark of the corner of the mouth, fierce incomparable stare at that ink night ice. Are you all right? Yunwu didn't go to see them, but could feel the fluctuation of their physical condition and asked in a low voice. Bai Shuer said softly, "It's okay." Little Smelly also shook his head, "I'm okay, but I can beat bad people." As for Hungling, Yunwu feels that it's okay. And he just that jilt, directly throw Dragon Qing evil don't know where. In spite of her great anger. But she was also relieved. At least, the man was far away from the national teacher. As long as he left, he would have enough time to heal. She didn't know what was going on between that dragon and the national master. However, she clearly felt that Long Qingxia's fear of the national master was the same as that trace of extremely patient hatred that even she could not understand. Good. Wait a minute, be careful. Cloud Dance finished saying, in the hand Gu Wu big knife a turn, thunder element infuses again. Strong ZZ sword roar, once again in the air from the violent turbulence. She is not his opponent, which she knows very well in her heart. However, with his strength, she could not escape. In that case, we have to fight. Ink Night Ice see Cloud Dance again posture, that white pale face, strange raised a smile arc. He's waiting for her to deliver it. Once the hand is turned over, the ghost bone sword in the hand will be put away directly. On the contrary, the hands will become a pair of white bone hands. However, if you look carefully, you will find that on the white hands, there were rows of small, almost transparent sharp tusks. Once into the meat, will scrape off a small flesh, giant drill pain. However, what ordinary people don't know is that the real terror of the bony hand is not those. It is. Once inserted into the body by the bony hand, all abilities in the body will be sucked by the tiny tusks. Thus, it enters into his body and is absorbed by him. Now, Cloud Dance Eyes Alin, holding a big knife, has set off that violent strong breath, ferocious volley towards him. Bai Shuer's whole body wind element congeals, a wind blade, hits at the same time. Small stink wings flame up, the whole body is like the fireball, with the clouds to attack quickly. But I don't know, that looking at the cloud dancing ink night ice, that pair of dark eyes bottom is more excited. The black air immediately envelopes the whole body, and the white bone hands are rising. Almost also in an instant, straight away. He can't wait see him face to face, cloud dance purple pupil cold light together. Wind element wrapped body, dead fire instantaneous lead out, quietly straight into the angry Guwu's sword. 2 fires and 1 element. Brush. When the sword falls, the cold light flickers. Almost in the right moment. Flash in mid-air, speed, in the eyes of ordinary people, it is just a passing light, simply cannot see the battle scene. Green light, red light and black light collide with each other fiercely, bringing waves of ripples every time too strong, too strong. More than a dozen people at the Longjing Bridge in the lower corner looked at the twinkling lights in the air. When they were surprised, they cried again and again. Just, not a moment. Click. Bang. The sound of a brittle fracture sounded, and the 2 shadows were directly hit by the black light. Stop the speed. Now I can see the situation in mid-air. Yunwu's face turned white and his whole body was covered with the black air. And the wrists were directly grabbed by the white hands. The bones were like flesh and blood, and a strange black light seemed to be pumping her internal strength. When the power into the body, ink night ice all over a shock, eyes suddenly brush up a wave of ecstasy. Are you the witch daughter who has awakened twice? The pure power in the body makes Mo Yebing crazy. But after a while, he opened his eyes in amazement again. You actually have 7 elements in your body, are you still 7 systems of the same body? At first, he was surprised when he thought that she was the same body, but did not think that she was a 7 department. Instant, ink night ice that looking at the eyes of the clouds, is that hot excitement. It's like seeing a gourmet food, just want to swallow her immediately and absorb all her abilities into your body. The power absorbed by the hand is speeding up. Under the black atmosphere, Yunwoo seemed to be imprisoned and could not move. But I can clearly feel the power of being sucked away from my wrist, and the pain of blood drawing. He's sucking the power out of her. Yunwoo's face turned white and he wanted to take back his hand. But at this time, she was not only completely unable to move, as he absorbed the power, her whole body began to become weak. Damn it! Quick, give me all your strength. It's so special. That power is so special. With the absorption of more and more, Moibing has been completely excited. Black gas in the eyes are unconsciously receding, in exchange for the extremely excited greed. Suddenly. Schwa! In the void, a twist and a violent strong breath suddenly appear, which directly attack the white bone hands of Mo Yibing. Ink night ice. This excited facial expression, suddenly a sync. A pull cloud dance, body shape strange flash. Let her go. A roar from the angry sky came from a distance. In the twinkling of an eye, you can see the figure covered with blood, coming rapidly. Dragon's evil. The cloud dances under the black air. When I see the figure, my heart trembles. It's him. That's the man. But what did he come back to do? I know I'm not the national teacher's opponent. What can I do when I come back? However, there is no denying that. When you see the dragon's evil, the cloud dances in your heart. Here he comes. Here comes. However, when Mo Yibing saw that what appeared was dragon's evil, a sneer suddenly appeared on her face. I'm not dead yet. It's just right to come back so that I won't be looking for it again. Then I'll give you all my strength and let you die faster. He has silver hair, golden eyes, and a pale face. At this time, the corners of his mouth outline slightly. Want me to be strong? Yes, come and get it yourself. Ink night ice smell speech, but seem to hear what joke. Sooner or later, I'll take the power from you, but it's stupid to use this trick to save her. Smell speech, the dragon inclines evil but don't anger but smile, is it? If you don't come, I'll send it to you myself. As soon as the dragon had finished, the golden pupil flashed, and his body immediately went away. Ink night ice see this, black eyes haze a flash, instantaneous free a hand, want to fight back quickly. But I didn't expect that when I got close. Long Qingxie really sent his wrist directly to his white bones. Click. White bone into the flesh, a sharp pain. But the dragon did not resist any evil, let the black chi cover him, let the white bone quickly absorb the power in his body. Mo Yibing is suspicious of this sudden situation. But see, he didn't have any resistance, absorb very smoothly, soon also put down heart, eyes sneer heartily absorb. But cloud dance on the other side, looking at this scene, the corner of his eyes suddenly turned red and wanted to roar at him. He's crazy. Knowing that the enemy did not come back, he even sent himself to the door. Is he stupid or not? If you want to yell at him, go. But under the black fog, the cloud dance can't make any sound. I can only blush and stare at him. Long Qingxie gave her a look. It's like saying to her, silly woman, it's okay. I'm here. Let cloud dance heart suddenly a draw, red silk diffuse purple pupil, more and more red. Long Qingxie just looked at her like that. There was a touch of heartache in her golden pupil, but the corner of her mouth outlined the radiance of the evil spirit, as usual. However, the body, but aroused their own Yuanli, straight toward the ink night ice absorption of the arm sent. Yes. He sent it instead of accepting it. At this time, the two sides at the same time greedily absorbed the power, ink night ice, suddenly the body a shock, seems to finally detect a trace of anomaly. Ben's pale face, at this moment. A flush of red rushed to his face, and instantly his face became very ruddy. But in his dark eyes, there was an instant shock. Almost at the same time. The white bone hand that buckles Cloud Dance and Dragon to Poor Evil, a quick loosen, want a hand to draw back. But at that time, a big backhand caught his white hand. Don't you want my strength? I took it back just after I asked for it. Isn't that too polite to me? Lo San's voice died with a bloody cold. Long Qingxia pressed his hand tightly with his backhand, and quickly sent his own Yuanli into the body of Mo Yibing along with the white bone hand which was trapped in his flesh and blood. Mo Yibing's face at this time has finally changed from ruddy to purplish red. The horror in his eyes turned into a great anger. Your strength is in conflict with each other. You are evil. Mo Yibing's voice was almost roaring from the bottom of his throat, extremely angry and sharp. And at that moment, Ink Night Ice almost no hesitation, powerful breath quickly toward the dragon. Along with the trend, the dragon takes a leap back. Turn around and go straight for the falling Cloud Dance. At the moment when the cloud fell into the air, he held her tightly in his arms. You little thing, I told you to go, but you have to be brave. Now you know the pain. The deep voice of Dragon Qingxia gently brushed the cloud dancing ear. But the sound, but instantaneous warm cloud heart. Pain. Yes, it hurts. But it's not the physical pain, it's the heartache. What has this man done for her? How much for her? Mingming, the wound on his body has not healed well, but he ran to save him. How stupid is he? No matter how painful it is, it's not as stupid as you are. Cloud Dance said, almost subconsciously, hands on him. And in the moment of holding him, he mobilized the first door of Chaos Hall again, trying to lead out the aura of heaven and earth in the door to heal him. But the man's voice came suddenly. Little thing, don't use your ability. He already knows too many secrets about you. Don't reveal your last card too. The cloud dances and hears the speech. Is he aware of the existence of Chaos Temple in her early? However, at this time, Yunwu only worried about his body, but your injury. You just heard that I was born with evil body, and I can't die. At that moment, the dragon fell on the ground holding the cloud. As soon as the cloud dance landed. In the distance, you can see Hongling, with white snow and little stink rolling on its branches, running fast. Master, both of them have stopped eating. Hongling quickly sends Bai Shuer and Xiao Chou to Yunwu. See, white snow sun with small stink, the corner of the mouth oozes blood, as if to be about to faint into a coma. How could that be? Yunwu's face changed slightly, and he wanted to raise his hand weakly, but he was stopped by the dragon. They are injured, and you have absorbed too much elemental energy in your body to provide elements for them for the time being, so take them back to the contract and let them sleep for a while. Deep sleep? Cloud Dance looked at that snow-white sun with small stink, the heart slightly pulled tight for a while. But in the end, it didn't say anything. One hand, put them all in their own space. Lift Mao, cold of sea to half sky, because inside the body two strength mutually blunt, but strongly want to suppress of ink night ice. In the bottom of my heart, an endless anger rises. One day, I'll let you repay today's revenge 100 times. The voice is not big or small, but she used up all her strength, such as breaking the air to transmit sound, resounding through the whole sky immediately. See Long Qing evil embrace waste to embrace her. Taking advantage of that ink night ice is still suppressing the gap of body strength, body shape a flash, quickly leave. Because Hongling didn't make a contract with Yunwu, she was washed down to the ground first, and the impact didn't have much impact. So, it's behind, and it's fast following. Mo Yibing looks at the cloud dance that leaves with the dragon to Poor Evil, the whole face all because of anger and twisted. However, the two forces in the body repel each other, almost enough to split him. I want to get it back. For the time being, I can't be distracted at all. he just watched them slip away under his eyes. Damn. In addition to dragon and cloud dance. That has been hiding to the old far more than 10 students of Longjing Bridge. See this situation, if you are still waiting to see the follow-up situation, it is really a fool. Long ago, when Yunwu and Longqing left, they smeared oil on the soles of their feet one by one. They also took the opportunity to escape. Any adventure to Warcraft Forest is a floating cloud. To see such an extraordinary and soul-stirring fight, and to hear the information. I'm afraid, it's enough to make their legs soft for half a month and make their hearts tremble for 10 or 8 days. This is the national teacher of Longshu. No wonder it's so mysterious to hide under the black robe. Too scary. That's not a normal person at all. They saw it and heard it. In the future, will they be killed? More than a dozen people, almost non-stop, just want to hurry back to the college. At least, in the college, there are many tutors and many students. Even if you want to kill people, you should not recognize them. Where is Nanshan? It's the ground wire from the border of Longziguo. The boundary crossing line of the 3 kingdoms is divided into 3 strongholds, which are the locations of the 3 representative colleges of the 3 kingdoms. If it's close to the Longkong Warrior Academy of Longshu Kingdom, it's not too far from the Xinhuang Warrior Academy of Zhou Dynasty. Therefore, after the dragon leaves that area with Cloud Dance. Even without stopping, he went straight to the ground line of the Zhou Dynasty. Along the way, there was no royal air flight. Because in the southern Warcraft Forest range, there are too many island lines in 10,000 animals' doors. But he had injuries. Yunwu stopped many times to let him see his wound. However, he seemed to turn a deaf ear and went all the way. Till dusk. Through the woods, we finally came to a southern border city of the Zhou Dynasty. Shenzhen. However, at this time, Long Qingxie did not take the cloud dance into the city. But outside the city, a signal was sent out. After a while, I saw a man dressed as a boy driving a carriage from the city. Soon, it stopped in front of them. The boy took a black cape, jumped down from the car and quickly came over. He skillfully handed it to Long Qingxie. Master. A respectful and steady voice. As soon as you listen to that voice, you know it's definitely a practitioner. After Long Qingxie took over, he put the cloak on Yunwu. Lift Mao to see and eye that man, 07. Back to the master, 07 hasn't come back yet, but he has sent back the news. The man replied respectfully. As for what news, it seems that because of the cloud dance and did not say. Yunwu didn't say anything about it. Well. Go back and live first. Long Qingxie nods. Then, he turned to Yunwu, little thing, let's go into the city and have a rest. Later, I'll take you to the junction, the town of Xinhuang Samurai Academy, to join the waste. Well. Yunwu didn't say much. After getting into the carriage, the man turned the carriage and immediately put it into the city. It took a long time for the carriage to stop. It was a large courtyard, living in a prosperous part of the city, but it didn't look luxurious. It's a big yard, but after entering it, I found that I didn't see half a figure. I don't know. I thought I went into an empty courtyard. The man who had just led the carriage roared as they got out of the carriage and went in ahead. Little thing, there are not many servants here. If you need anything, just let out. Dragon Qing Xia takes Cloud Dance to a courtyard and says. The cloud danced around her eyes. She can't feel it. There seems to be no one here, but there are many secret sentries around. But those are not important, the important thing is that this man, from the beginning, did not let her see his wound. Even, she was not allowed to feel his pulse. It should be safe here now. Give me your hand and let me have a look. Cloud Dance says, also direct of spread out palm toward him. Long Qingxie's face was pale and bloodless from the beginning. However, in front of her, he was the same from head to tail. Even, did not see him because of the abdominal wound and frown. I'm all right. The wound healed a little fast. I've bandaged it. I'll let you see it after I clean the wound. And then. Just now the man came down another path. After Chow Yun Dance nodded politely, he bowed respectfully to the dragon and said in a low voice, Master, the bath is ready. You can take a bath. When the dragon hears the evil words, the evil spirit of his mouth is aroused. Suddenly, he turned his head vaguely and looked at Yunwu with deep eyes. Since the little thing is so worried about being a husband, why don't you go with me? The voice behind it is so long that it makes people feel some evil ambiguity. Yunwu's eyes were fixed on him. Half ring, poor also direct, good. What? Long Qingxie seems to be in a daze, there are so many seconds of no response. Come on, don't you want a bath? I'm just dirty, too. I'll wash it together by the way. Cloud Dance, a face earnest of say, along with the trend of, seemed to stretch out a hand to grasp his hand. But don't know, her words, let some man and silly Leng a second. But immediately. Dragon Qing evil feet a move, quietly avoided her hand. There was a smile in my eyes. Sometimes, he really doesn't know whether to worry or to be happy about this woman's intelligence. This little woman was so dull before. Now, he was so clever that he couldn't laugh or cry. Well, you silly woman, you're going to bathe with me before you get married. You're not at a loss. Besides, your body is still very empty. I can't bear to part with you. Dragon Qing evil at this time, while saying 100-side compromise like, but put his hand in front of Cloud Dance. Yunwu reaches for his pulse. It's stable without waves. From the pulse condition, it doesn't look like the injured pulse condition at all. What's going on? Cloud Dance frowns, always feel we're not quite right. But at this time, Long Qingxie had withdrawn his hand and rubbed her forehead like a pet. Now the pulse of your hand has been detected. If you are really worried, you can follow me. However, I told you that if you follow me, I can't guarantee that I can hold you back. With that, Long Qingxie smiles and turns around and walks towards the path. And just that man, respectfully followed in the past. The Cloud Dance left behind, but I don't know whether to follow the past or however, Cloud Dance in that eyes, but flashed a helpless gloomy. What is hidden in this man? Can't even she know? As soon as he left the line of sight of Cloud Dance, the evil smile on Long Qingxie's face disappeared. That pale handsome face, finally uncontrollable like, appeared as an eggshell crack. 09, go down and protect her for me. Report immediately if you have any information. Long Qingxie's voice was hoarse at this time. 09 worried looking at that body gradually spread out a light black air of Dragon Qing evil, frown Wei, Master, your body. It's okay. Go back. The dragon's evil voice fell, and he quickly walked towards the hut at the end of the path. Bang! The moment you close the door. Long Qingxie's body, as if to the limit, faltered and fell to his knees. Then, a strange bone click, suddenly sounded in the closed house. Eh! Pain hum, bear the dull ring. Long Qingxie is biting his teeth. It seems that he can resist it. But also at this time. He staggers to the inner room and pours into the bloody pool. Gulu gulu dash, in the blood pool, it began to boil like high temperature, and countless hot bubbles emerged from the blood pool. And the figure in the blood pool was soaked all over. Click dash, in the blood pool, the sound of bone click. If anyone saw the scene in the blood pool at this time, his face would be shocked. See only, immerse the man in blood pool, the skin of whole body is cracked commonly, crack is full of cloth, blood silk is clear visible. And the body under the clothes, every root bone of the whole body seems to be in the state of being disassembled, reconstituted, mutated and twisted. This process, and its pain. However, For Long Qingxie, this is the necessary process of his rebirth after every serious injury. Yes. He was born an evil body. An existence that is supposed to be unknown. Not only is cultivation abnormal, but even the most normal death is totally different from ordinary people. His body has the ability to heal, and if he is injured too much and does not heal in time, he will die. It's just that his death is weird. No matter what kind of death, it's a kind of death. He lost his breath, his pulse, even his heart, but still can go. Even, as long as he is willing to pretend, he can be like a normal person. Until reaching a certain peak, his whole body will begin to appear the phenomenon of skin rupture and bone reorganization. However, if he still can't die, it will only make him happy. Blood is the only medicine that can cure him. Besides, it needs advanced blood. Whether it's human or Warcraft, this is him. The only side she didn't want to see. He had seen it with his own eyes, and he could hardly accept it. It's horrible, it's disgusting. How can the woman see him like this? In the blood pool. The man's skeleton is still rattling. Broken skin, like in the automatic absorption of the blood, and little by little began to get moisture. Silver hair, in the blood pool, become more and more shiny. Half a day later. The clattering of the bones finally stopped, and the blood pool dried up for more than half. The man in the blood pool finally got up from the blood pool and gasped for breath. The cracks on the skin have disappeared. The upper and lower bones of the whole body are also completely compound. Long Qingxie touched the blood on his face and took a deep breath, which seemed to slow down. At this time, he just lowered his head and reached out to untie the abdomen that he had tied with the cloth before. The abdomen was penetrated directly, leaving a hole that had not yet healed. And then, the man seems to have no idea of everything in this room just now. But they were all given eyes by the eyes on the roof. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.